I hope. It's so important to have a good title, you know, and it's like, and it did. It put it in SDR Sharp Hurricane Elsa Field Day Recap. All right, very good. We are now on live. All right, that's good. We're broadcasting live on YouTube. So let me start this. Okay, guys, that's it. It's official. We're started. This is the Southwest Florida Tech Net. My name's Ian Hicken. I'm here with Joseph tonight, KM4OVZ. And oh, I thought that was thunder. I think it's my neighbor's loud truck. Anyway, we have on with the Southwest Florida Tech Net tonight. Welcome everybody. We've already got a bunch of folks in here. I know we'll have some more joining in just a few minutes. We're going to do a lot of different things tonight. It's going to be a kind of a fast-moving show, or net or presentation, if you will. We don't really know what to call this yet. Maybe you guys can help me figure out what we're supposed to call this thing. But anyway, hold on a second. Yes, the meeting's being recorded. Awesome. Okay, so tonight we're going to do some really cool stuff. We're going to start off with the dongles. Now, we've been talking about these for about 3 weeks, so we're not going to go, you know, too much into this one again because we've already talked a little bit about it. I'm going to show you some other ones though. But we're also going to be doing SDR Sharp, which is the program, one of the best programs to use with this. There is others as well, and so we're gonna talk about that program. And Joseph is actually going to demonstrate that program with audio and visual, so you guys can actually see how to use it. And he's going to show you the different plugins that you can put, and so that's really cool to be able to do that. One of the great plugins that he found for it and programmed into my computer using TeamViewer is, amazingly enough, a scanner program that scans about 20 frequencies all at one time. And then we're putting that on Broadcastify. If you listen to the Broadcastify feed that's marked FMARC, you're actually listening to one of these with the scanner app programmed by Joseph, and it works great. It actually provides better scanning than the Baofeng or the realistic scanner would. So it's doing a really good job. And it also, once you get it going, it's a little quinky at first, but once you get it going and you get your fingers off of it, it'll sit there and run for days. So it's a great little device. These are being used for a lot of different things, and we're going to discuss some of that tonight. And then in the second part of the show, or net, or whatever you want to call this thing, I swear we're going to come up with a name at some point. But eventually we're going to talk about the next big story out there, which of course is Hurricane Elsa. And this storm is heading towards us here in Southwest Florida. And as you can see from the screen there, it's something we probably should be somewhat concerned about. But before we go any further, I just want to tell you the atmosphere around Cuba is not conducive for rapid development. Okay, so the good news here right now is, even though this thing did rapidly intensify a little bit overnight, went to bed with a tropical storm that was not supposed to be a hurricane, woke up with a hurricane. We've done that before. Remember Charlie? Went to bed with a 1, woke up with a 4. Congratulations, it's a 4. Yeah, and this is kind of the same thing here. We went to bed with a tropical storm. We ended up with a hurricane that we were never really supposed to have. The bottom line is the models are not picking this up that well. It's kind of interesting. The Euro, which is normally the best performing model, doesn't seem to want to pick this thing up at all. When you put the consensus together, sometimes it doesn't pick it up at all. So it's interesting. The GFS has been routinely running it right up the west coast of Florida. So we're going to get into depth later about Hurricane Elsa. And I'm going to show you guys the latest model runs. We're going to look at the latest infrared satellite imagery, and we're going to talk about the intensity forecasting, which may be the most important part of this. Of course, is track and intensity. Duration's not going to be too bad. It's going to be a fairly fast-moving storm. But we're going to talk about all this in the second segment, so stay tuned for that. And then we'll go ahead and see if I can get this back to my screen here. All right, there we go. And so we're, like I said, we're going to get into all that here in just a little while. But first, and then after that, we're going to do news. I got a few news items. There's a contest. There's the 13 colonies. There's 3 contests going on this weekend. We're going to talk about all that. And I got a really cool thing I want you to hang around for towards the end. We're going to get it all done in 2 hours. I'm not going to stretch this out longer than 2 hours. Towards the end, I'm going to tell you guys about this really cool thing over on the other side of the world. It's one of the largest, if not the largest, antenna structure in the world. It was built by the Russians, and it's right near Chernobyl. And we're going to talk about that coming up. Amateur radio operators from way back may remember it as the woodpecker. And so there's a little tease. I think John's already Googling. We're going to talk about that here in just a little while. So stay tuned. I got some great pictures of this. It's a great relic, a monument that's out there, and they're trying to turn it into a place that you could visit, which I think will be pretty cool. All right. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But first, let's go ahead and get into our main presentation tonight, which is on the SDR and the SDR Sharp. We're going to run through some basics here for just a second, and then we're going to go into an actual live demonstration where he's going to run you through not only what it does, what it looks like, what it sounds like when it's working, and how to tune it, but then he's also going to show you some of the preferred plugins that you can put into this thing. And then he's also going to show you, and maybe not in this order, he's also going to show you how you can connect to other SDR dongles through your SDR Sharp program. And that's really cool too. So let's get this connected here. All right. So let's talk first about the best $27 you're ever going to spend. This is called the SDR dongle, and there's a bunch of different ones, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But Joseph, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you at this point to kind of give us the basic introduction.
Alrighty. So, well, we've already talked about these a little bit, but they're a software-defined radio. Personally, I think every ham should have one of these. If you have a computer and an antenna, these are like the coolest $27 you'll ever spend, because you can do so much with them. So in this presentation, we're going to show you what it is, which you already kind of know, but we're going to tell you where you can buy it, how and where to install it. So like in your laptop, or even some tablets can actually run these things. We're going to go through what you can do with it, which is going to be the software and, different things you can decode with it. And I'm also going to show you some different kinds of software-defined radio, because remember, it's not just these little silver dongles. There's a whole lot of different ones out there, and some of them can even transmit, which we'll get into later, which was really cool. But the main thing we're going to be doing is demonstrating SDR Sharp. Wait, no, go back. You went ahead one.
No. How do I go back? I do this all the time. I don't know how to go back. All right, there we go.
Okay. So we're going to tell you what the software is, and we're going to talk about how to install it, which is very easy, but we're going to have a little bit of a guide here, because it is not extremely obvious when you first look into this. It might be a bit confusing. We're going to go through basic operation in the live demonstration, and I'll also talk about the built-in remote stations that this program features, so you can actually dial into other people's radios and use them as receivers. We're going to go through plugins, which is where some of the best functionality of this program can be found, is in the plugins. And we're also going to talk about scanning, which will interest people who do airband and stuff like that. So yeah. So the dongle here, there's a little bit of a list here of some of the ideas you can do with it. You can listen to air traffic control. That's one thing. Public safety, so like your police, fire, EMS kind of thing. ADS-B aircraft tracking, so airplanes actually transmit out a little signal with their location and speed and tail number, and you can actually track that using your own antenna and dongle instead of having to use like a website. Trunked radio, so stuff like DMR, fusions, things like that, you can actually listen to with this using software plugins. 433 megahertz weather stations. So I don't know if you've ever seen on somebody's house, but they might have like this little gray weather station with a little solar panel on it, and like the wind cups, the anemometer. You can actually, most of them broadcast out a little signal, which you can pick up with this dongle. And so if you don't have one of those weather stations, but someone in your neighborhood does, you can probably just use theirs and get the data from it.
I love
there's weather balloons, so you can track weather balloons on APRS and then play back their location on Google Maps, which is pretty cool. APRS, which I'm sure most of you already know what that is, location, data. You can do stuff like weather stations with that. And we already talked about a couple tech nets ago. We talked about the NOAA and Meteor weather satellites. So this is a good thing for that. Radio astronomy. So radio astronomy happens up in the gigahertz spectrum. So some of these dongles that we'll show you and some of the different ones, you can actually do some pretty good radio astronomy with them. I haven't done any of that myself, but I know you can. Classroom learning. This is a really good tool for demonstrating radio of any kind to students in a classroom. So, and you could use it as a low-cost pandapter for your amateur radio. So if you just want like a spectrum, you could use it as just to monitor your own output signal or things coming in. So it's a really universally usable device. It's really cool. Next slide, please.
Okay, Jen, are you trying to see something? Can we help you find something?
Yes, I was trying to see the last three letters of the website. It was rtl-sdr.com
That is correct.
The QSS or
no,
QSG.
it's just rtl-sdr.com.
Yeah, that's all you need. Oh, we don't hear you anymore.
Just below that, there's a website and it says / and it has 3 capital letters, right?
Oh, it's the quick setup guide.
Yeah, for the setup guide.
Oh,
QSG.
It's on the dongle itself. Okay.
Okay, QSG. Yeah. Thank you.
QSG, rtl-str.com/QSG.
Thank you. I guess next time I'm going to have to block it before I start using it.
That's actually a good little resource on there. I
actually saw you on the group camera thing I got here with the magnifying glass on the screen. I'm like, oh, I got to help her out here. There's gotta be. So yeah, it works though. Man. You remember the old days? The magnifying glass would not work on the TV, but it sure does work now. I'll tell you. All right, here we go.
So the basics for a computer, you can use almost any computer, even an older one. But the recommended specs that they give you on the website is at least a dual core processor. And this applies to not just SDR Sharp, but anything else. So you do need at least at the very least a dual core processor, but that's not really a problem. I mean, most anything made after 2010 probably has that. You'll need a decent antenna. Oh, say that. Go ahead.
Raspberry Pi?
Yes, you can use it on a Raspberry Pi. The software limit, there is a kind of a limitation for software, but there is a similar program to SDR Sharp for the Raspberry Pi. So yes, you can use these on Raspberry Pis.
Yeah, it's taken a little time for the plugins to catch up and stuff on Raspberry Pi. Like we can't find the one we need for scanning yet, but it's coming. It's one of those things. It's just going to be a few years behind. But yeah, as far as just using it through the Raspberry Pi, we're looking at putting these places and hooking them up to a Raspberry Pi, hooking it to the internet, and now we can dial in from anywhere and listen to that location. So yeah, that's a great thing. All right, Joseph, I'm sorry. Go
ahead. Yeah, so you're gonna need an antenna. Now, since this is like a wideband dongle, you can go down to about 25 megahertz and up to about 1.7 gigahertz. And you can even do HF too. You're gonna want a good antenna for this. So a disc cone antenna is like the universal standard for a scanning antenna. They have a very, very wide band. I don't know what you call it. Not really bandwidth, but very wide range of performance, good performance. So they can go way low, way high, and still perform pretty well for reception. You can see it's got a bunch of different little counterpoises on there for the different bands. So yeah, one of those disc cone antennas will, if you're really serious about scanning lots of different things, a disc cone is probably where you want to be.
Just a note here, Joseph, just so you guys know, we have multiple Broadcastify feeds here. We're going to be getting one of these and putting it out on the corner of the property and running a feed in and running it into all 3 of our receivers. Remember, if all you're doing is receiving, you can run all your receivers on one disc cone antenna. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, disc cone is where it's at for scanning, but you can use any antenna. Like I use a 2 meter 440 antenna that we built. And it will still receive way up in the band, and it doesn't do so well on lower frequencies, but it'll still receive a whole lot of things like airband and you know, all kind of stuff. So for getting started, you can use just your existing base antenna. It'll work fine. Can tune down to 500 kilohertz and up to 1.7 gigahertz. So it has a really, it covers almost everything you could possibly want. It has a live spectrum bandwidth of 3.2 megahertz for the maximum spectrum you can do, but a lot of computers will probably do better with 2.4 megahertz. And what this live spectrum means is where you can see on your computer screen a scope from, you know, say 145 megahertz all the way to 147 megahertz all at once. So if a signal comes at any point in between those two frequencies, you could see it on your screen and you could tune to it. And using the scanner plugin, like we'll talk with later, you can actually listen to multiple signals at once using this dongle. So it's pretty good. And yeah, these dongles are receive only. These ones here, the silver ones. We will talk about ones in the future here that can transmit, but yeah, these cheap ones, the $27, $30 ones, they can receive only. So yeah. So if you go on Amazon, you're going to be greeted probably with one of these kits, which includes a antenna and you know, some cables and stuff. And this may look very appealing because they give you, you know, like everything you need to get started. But that antenna is really only designed for television. You know, it's like the rabbit ears for your TV. So anything outside of that, it won't really work very well for. I have heard of people using this for satellite reception if you turn it into an inverted V. But for general use, these do not perform well at all. So just get the antenna, just get the dongle by itself. There, you can scroll down a little bit more and you'll see the dongle posted by itself, and it should be about $27 on Amazon.
Yeah, and look, that one more thing. If you do buy this, or if you have bought this and you want to make a dipole out of the two antennas, the two rabbit ears, you can take that little plate off and you can mark which side is the positive. So that way you can get the dipole in the right configuration. It does not tell you when it comes in the box which is the positive and which is the negative. So it works okay like this, but if you're wanting to make a dipole out of it, you don't know which one to put up and which one to put down, but you can take it apart and look inside and see which one is the center contact. That's your one that goes up, obviously. Just a word of advice. I bought this. I actually got the stuff out, but it's out of reach. I bought this and I've actually used a bunch of the parts out of it, so I'm not totally upset about it. But I really didn't get that little extension cable in the middle. I probably got more use out of that than I did anything else in the kit, because I used that to hook up other antennas and stuff. But all I'm saying here is, in my recommendation on this, I wouldn't buy the kit because we're hams. We've already got antennas. We've already got stuff that's better than what comes in this kit. And they're going to charge like $20 for what comes in this kit. Down at the bottom, those little adapters there, you just want to make sure that you can adapt what you have to what's on the end of that dongle,
which is an SMA connector on the dongle.
All right. We good here?
Yeah.
All right. And there's where you buy it.
Yep. Amazon has, probably the best place to get it would be from Amazon, because it'll get here in like a day. You know, if you order on Amazon, you'll have it tomorrow. You can also buy these on newegg.com, which is like a computer parts, you know, electronics website. It's actually where I've gotten a bunch of computer parts from. AliExpress is another website. It's sort of similar to Amazon, but more on the cheaper side. So the price of these things would probably be about the same, but AliExpress is another place you can get it from. Just make sure you get the official one from RTL SDR blog. It's called RTL SDR blog because the website's actually a blog. So make sure it's that, you know, and not some, because you can get counterfeits of these. But these three main websites, you should be okay if you buy it from there. So wait, why is this out of order? I think I forgot to move this into the right order, but we can do this now. This is fine. Yeah, because we're about to step into SDR sharp. Okay, so we're going to do SDR sharp, but some of the other things you can do, like I said earlier, was this program called RTL_433. Now, this is a command line program. So, you know, last week we talked about the satellites and using a terminal. So you would use a terminal for this, and you can do it on Windows. And it does not require any compiling. you can just download it and run it. But here in this little picture I got, you can see how it says humidity 68%. It tells you the model number of the actual device that it's getting this value from. And if you look here at the top, it says 68, and then halfway down, it drops to 67%. So if you let this run for a while, you can actually see the temperature dropping or the humidity dropping, but it'll get other values too. It'll get, wind speed and temperature. And the last one here is dump 1090, which is the reason it's called 1090 is because that's the frequency that airplanes broadcast ADS-B at. It's one of the frequencies, is 1.09 gigahertz. So dump 1090 will let you track your airplanes, and you can actually put them on a map to see where they're at. So it'll actually let you get stuff that cool. Normally it'll let one cool thing is that if there's like an airplane or something, that's not showing up on the websites, because maybe like military things will generally be censored from like any of the airplane tracking websites. You should be able to see it using your own. If you're using your own radio, you can see anything. It won't be like I've been able to track police helicopters as they've flown around. I can track the police helicopter, and but it won't show up on like FlightAware or right. any of the websites. So that's one cool thing you could do with this. Is,
and guys, remember, it is never illegal to receive and download and decode radio communications. Ever, ever, ever.
Yep. Here in America, at least.
Yeah, for now. All right, so here's your software. This is the main software. This is called SDR Sharp. It's pronounced SDR Sharp, but it's got the sharp sign like in music. That'd be the like B sharp in music. That's where that comes from. It's the most popular free RTL SDR compatible software, and it is relatively simple to use compared to some of the other ones. There's other ones that are great out there. This one seems to be one of the more user-friendly ones. It's got a modular plugin type architecture. So basically, it's open source. Anybody can build plugins for this thing, and then you can download them. In fact, when I downloaded this, I actually found we found a plugin pack one that when you download it, it already had like 50 of the plugins already in it or something. It was ludicrous. So really cool stuff. Did I get that one? Anything else? So just go to SDR. What was it? We don't have the website on here.
Do we not? It's on the AirSpy web. If
yeah, it's there it is. Oh, that's why it's on the next slide. Yeah. Duh, we made this like 3 days ago and we've already forgot where everything is. Okay. There's your website, folks. You heard it here first. Just there you go. Copy everything right on down there. And that's the file name that you need. You'll find it on the website there. And AirSpy, if they want to give me $50, I'll let them have that logo. I animated their logo. What do you know? All right. Everybody got that? All right, let's get her up and running. And this is a little, Joseph's going to have to walk you through this. It's a little weird. There's a little driver you have to put in. This thing's supposed to be plug and play. What do we know about things that are supposed to be plug and play? Okay, Joseph.
Okay. First, I do want to tell you why you need to do this. So these dongles were originally TV tuners. So like you would plug this into a television and it would receive, over-the-air television broadcasts. That's what these dongles are originally, but someone actually found out that you can use the tuner in there to act as a software-defined radio. So that's why you need to replace the driver, because if you do it just by plugging it in, Windows is going to think it's a TV tuner. So you must have Microsoft.NET 5.0 or newer. Now, if you've used your computer for a year or so, chances are you probably already have this. You may have installed it at some point in the past without remembering it. If not, it'll actually pop up and it'll open your browser. It'll give you the link right there, and it's really easy to install. It gives you the link, so you don't have to go searching for it. Once you download it, it will be in a zip format. So I'm pretty sure most of y'all know how to unzip a zip file. But don't try and run anything inside the zip because it will not work. You need to make sure you extract it into its own folder before you try running anything in there. So in the folder, you're going to find a file called install rtlsdr.bat. So this is like a script, basically. you run this and it'll pop up with a little terminal and it'll tell you that it is downloading the drivers. So it'll close itself when it's done. So basically just let that finish, and then you're ready to go on to the next step, which is to find you're probably going to scroll down to the bottom of the folder, and you should see a file in there called zadig.exe. This is a program that's used to replace drivers and install drivers for certain obscure devices. So yeah, it puts it in there for you. So you want to plug in your dongle. If your dongle, you've got it from one of those websites, and it might seem a bit sketchy, don't install any software they tell you to. Even if they tell you to install this software here, don't follow their guide, because who knows if they're going to redirect you to their own website or something and give you a virus, because some of these cheap Chinese manufacturers will try and scam you like that. So
or they'll send you the actual software, but it'll have other stuff installed in with it that will put little things on your computer or something.
Yeah. So when you've clicked on Zadig, it's actually really simple. It's like 4 things you got to do. So you're going to go to, you probably won't see anything at first in the little drop down box right in the middle. So you're going to go to options and turn on list all devices. You may, in some cases, you may uncheck ignore hubs, or what's the other one? Composite parents. I haven't had to do that. I've only had to turn on list all devices. So if you're not seeing it there, so what you're looking for is bulk in interface 0. That is what the dongle has always showed up for me. Apparently you can also, you can see here, it says RTL 2832. That's actually the name of the tuner, is the RTL 2832. So look for those strings there. If it says RTL 2832U on it, that's probably it. Don't go clicking around and starting replacing drivers for stuff that is not interface 0 or RTL, because if you do that, you will not be able to use your keyboard or your mouse or whatever you accidentally replace. So be careful with this program. Make sure the USB ID is 0BDA283800. If you got the right device selected, that's what it'll be. When you have it selected, I think, do we have this on the next slide? Yeah, here we go. Okay. When you have it selected, it should say bulk-in interface 0, as you can see right there. And then you just want to click replace driver. It may ask you if you want to allow this program to make changes. Hit yes. It is not a virus. I have used this many times and nothing has been installed. So this is just how you do it. You have to replace it with the WinUSB driver, because otherwise it's going to think it's a TV tuner. Yeah, on some older computers, you may have to tell it to install this driver. On Windows 10, I don't think it asks you that, but on Windows 7, it may ask you that. So, but yeah, once you've done that, you're done installing the driver. It's really easy. I've never had it fail. Some things fail for me sometimes, but this has never failed for me, so it should work. Yeah, so inside SDR Sharp, and we're going to demonstrate this when we do the live thing, but where it says source, you want to click the drop-down box and select the RTL SDR USB version. Don't select TCP. TCP is if you're running the Raspberry Pi on another computer and you want to remotely connect to it. And one thing that is very important, and this is like the most essential bit, you have to move your gain up to something like anything more than 0, because the software defaults to 0. And if it's at 0, you're not going to hear anything at all. You may hear maybe an FM broadcast station that's right on top of you, but other than that, you will hear nothing. So make sure you turn that gain up. I usually keep mine around 37 or 40. Make sure you turn the gain up, because if you do not,
Here, if you don't mind, I'll tell my story real quick. I bought my little dongle, my first one. I've got several now. I bought my first dongle, plugged it in, barely could pick up my radio station in a stereo. Had it on a great antenna, couldn't pick up nothing. It seemed to not be sensitive worth a crap. Chalked it up as a bad buy and threw it in a box. 6 months later, I'm talking to Joseph. He's like, oh, those things are great. I'm like, yeah, I got a counterfeit one. He goes, well, let me take it home and test it. He took it home. He goes, there's nothing wrong with this thing. It works great. He goes, you did turn the gain up, right? So it sat in a box for 6 months. Now I love the thing. I'm using them all the time. All right, there you go. That's the story. I'm sticking to it.
Yep. So yeah, they really need to change that default, but Whatever. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go through this on the live demonstration, but this is just a quick run through of the common icons and symbols and things you'll see in SDR Sharp. So up at the top, going from the top left to right, you see it says start stop. That's how you start the waterfall running and the radio receiving. If it looks like a little pause or like a little play button and you don't see any movement on the waterfall, then you're not receiving anything. The little cog, the little gear is the menu. That's where you set your gain, and that's where you can put it into HF mode and do other things like adjust the bandwidth. Next to that, we have the volume slider. That's pretty self-explanatory. Next to that, we have frequency input. So this is where you can tell the dongle where to tune to, where you want your center frequency to be. So you can't really type it in with your keyboard, but you can use your mouse over, if you hover over, we're going to demonstrate this later, but
Yeah,
if you hover your mouse over it, you can, if you hover your mouse over each little character, you can scroll up and down to set the frequency there.
It may be easier just to do all this on the live screen. Why don't we just do that? You want to switch to that?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, we're going to switch to his screen now, guys. Just give us a second here. And then you'll be able to see his SDR Sharp program, which is up and running.
Yep.
And you'll be able to hear it and you'll be able to see it. And we're gonna go around and listen to some stuff.
Yeah.
And we're gonna show you some of the things you can do with this amazing $27 item.
So can y'all see my my screen here? Is it working?
We're seeing you. Yep.
Okay, I have the sound off, but if I turn this up, you can hear it, right?
Yep.
All
We
right,
don't want
I'm
to play
gonna
it
keep
too
that.
long. The YouTube police will get us.
I'm gonna mute that. So okay. So
we deal with that on the other show too.
yeah, copyright.
Yes.
Okay, so here's our frequency selection area. So this would be your gigahertz. This is your megahertz. This is your kilohertz, and this is your hertz. So you could tune all the way up to 999 gigahertz if you wanted, if your radio could support that. But so I have my mouse over it. You can see it turns red or blue, and you can click it to go up or down, or you can just scroll with your mouse wheel, which is what I usually do. Underneath, right underneath this, which is the most important part of this program, is the waterfall. So if I go back to the FM broadcast band here, you can see these little yellow lines here. These are radio stations, and this is the waveform that they're putting out, displayed to you over time. So the part up here is the live spectrum. This is, what's happening now. And then it's turned into a intensity colored, like sort of graph thing down here. And so as time goes by, this will scroll down, and it's a pretty good way to visualize a radio signal. And so you can see, if the music pauses, you'll see like, it'll pause here like this, or if the person stopped talking. So it's just a good way of visualizing the signal that's coming in. So this is your waterfall and your spectrum, and anything that's up, if it's flat, that's your noise floor. If it points up, that's a signal. So if I can demonstrate that real quick by going up to the 850 megahertz band, which is where a lot of emergency services and police and stuff like that are located. See all these little peaks here, these little lines? These are all radio signals. And these are walkie-talkies in a hospital. These are police dispatch and stuff like that. So this is a really good place to demonstrate too how to tune into a signal and listen to it. So we're on 850 megahertz. I guess we can go right here. So I have this little line. You can see where my cursor is. And I'm just going to click on the center of a signal that is currently popped up. It went away, but it'll come back.
They keep disappearing right when you click
I
on
know.
it.
Yeah, it's that's just how it is on this band. We'll click on this one here. If I enable my audio, is my squelch on? I think my squelch is on. Yeah.
Looking for it northbound, because I don't know that the trailer or the.
You can hear these people are talking right now, and it's coming in over my software-defined radio.
Just in case.
I'm not really sure what.
Yeah, my LPR is not working, but if I see it, I'll catch it.
Oh,
So
sounds like
whatever comes out that way, unless he takes Bonito.
Can zoom in and out.
5 available.
I don't know what this is.
I think that first transmission was the sheriff's department. I think that second one was EMS. I'm not sure, but
Probably, yeah. I've heard hospital communications because from Lee Health.
County West 46,
Yeah.
4.
that's
There's
the sheriff's
dispatch.
department there. Yeah, that's the sheriff's department there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, these are the
Lee
police.
County. Yeah, that's the sheriff's department.
There we go. So we just picked up police. So you saw what I did here on the right. We have a bunch of little sliders here, and this is how you control the. You can move it up and down. You can turn the contrast up or down, so you can make it like really bright or really dull. Just whatever your personal preference is. Range back up. The zoom one is probably the most common one that you'll use. So you can actually zoom out and view the whole spectrum. There's someone transmitting really close to me right now, and it's actually overloading the SDR. I put that. I'm on my 30-foot beam antenna pointed towards Fort Myers, so it's. But you can zoom in and you can zoom way in. Yeah,
Joseph,
what you got?
How did you zoom in?
Here on the right, there's a column of sliders, and the topmost one says zoom. So if you click on that, you can drag it up and down. You can also use the scroll wheel on your mouse. And so we can zoom way in, or we can zoom way out here and see everything. So that's how you zoom in and out. Yeah, sure.
And
So
anyone that has questions, please just jump in like that. We're not stuck on formalities here.
yes, absolutely. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Don't be shy. So going backtracking a little bit here, when you first plug it in, you'll click from this little drop down box, and you can see there's a lot of other different devices you can use with this program. You can even import files from recordings. This software can actually record the waterfall and play it back, and you can tune around and listen to signals and demodulate them in different modes and everything. So basically, you're just
saves
recording
a large swath of the spectrum.
It's not just audio.
But
it's
it records the spectrum, and then you can go back later and decode it however you want: FM, AM, sideband, digital, however you want to do it. It's really cool.
It's really useful too for going to different locations and stuff. Maybe you don't have a great signal at home. You can take your dongle with you in a computer or even a cell phone and record a sample and bring it back home for analysis, which I've done a few times, and it's really cool. So yeah, in your source, you want to make sure you got RTL, SDR, USB selected. And in a little bit, we'll show you how to remote into other people's dongles that they've put up for use using the SPY server network, which is really cool. Okay, so the main tab here, and this is like the main tab you're going to use. This is how you select your mode, your demodulation mode. Right here, it says narrow FM. You can do wide FM, which is like for broadcast band. You can do AM, which is for stuff like air traffic control and, of course, shortwave radio. DSB, which is double sideband. The only station that I know that uses double sideband modulation would be the WWV time station. But most people just listen to that using AM, so it's not really commonly used. CW, that's for listening to Morse code, as you can imagine, and that gives you a really narrow filter here. So that's the CW one. And then, of course, we have lower sideband and upper sideband, and you can see it flips left to right for upper and lower sideband. So if you have a signal coming in, you can make sure it's in the center of this little box, and you're tuned to the correct upper. And then, of course, raw. And raw, I'm not exactly sure what it does. Every time I've tried to use it, it just sounds weird. Like you get strange noises out of that. I don't know what kind of transmission that is there, some kind of data, but raw, I'm not really sure what you'd use that for. I haven't had a.
I think that's just uncoded. It's just uncoded raw audio. That's basically what it is without being processed at all.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I haven't really played with that either.
Yeah, I don't know. The next button here we have is shift, and this is important if you're using an up converter, which we will talk about briefly towards the end of this. You could put in a custom offset, and so if you're using up converter, it'll make sure that the numbers here are correct. Because if you're using up converter, then it would be offset, and these numbers would be wrong, and you'd have to calculate in your head where you're supposed to be. But bandwidth here, this is how you select your bandwidth, and you can also do this by clicking on the actual filter and dragging. So you can make it really narrow for CW or really wide or really, really wide if you want to listen to 5 different broadcasts all at once. You know, I've got what's this? A 1 megahertz live audio. What does this sound like? It sounds like noise. All these little signals in here are too narrow to make it sound like anything. But yeah, you can make it really wide. So you could listen to the entire spectrum all at once if you wanted, which is something you can do. If you're in narrow FM or AM or even, I don't think, you can't use an upper sideband, but narrow FM, you can turn on the squelch. And this is pretty important if you just want to use this as a scanner. You can input a value here. If we put it at 50 or if we put it at like 40, then we should hear the static. But if we come in here and set this to something like 80, then we won't hear anything unless something breaks that squelch level. So squelch is good for listening to repeaters and stuff like that, you know. And there's a few other options here. Like if you go to wide FM, you can turn on FM stereo. Some stations broadcast with FM stereo. I don't know if you know anything about that, Ian. I use it sometimes. It just gives you stereo audio. So
and
these other options,
not all FM stations are in stereo. My station has been experimenting. I think we're in mono right now. Most of our elements are mono anyway because we're a talk station. And you know what we found out, guys? Mono signals penetrate buildings better than stereo signals do.
Really?
And they also work better in fringe areas, because when you have stereo coming in and you've got a signal that's not modulated very well, and you're getting that intermodulation, when you're in stereo, you're getting that twice. You're getting 2 different frequencies that are fading in and out at the same time, and it gets really bad. When you put that in the one signal and you shove that through, what basically ends up happening is you have a split frequency that's broadcasting the exact same thing. So it doesn't matter. And then you're telling the radio on the other end it's mono. So it's all just being kept as one big audio stream. And it actually seems to work better in fringe areas in cars. And it also works better through building walls. So we've actually gone back to mono on our station because we're talk.
Wow.
I wouldn't want to do that on a music station, but yeah.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. There's a few more options here, but invert spectrum and correct IQ, I never use those. Snap to grid is where if you want your little selector thing here to snap to like 5 or 6 kilohertz sections. So that comes on by default. You could turn it off if you want to be able to select anywhere. It just makes sure, because like the 2 meter ham band has a 5 kilohertz channel separation. So this will help you, if you want to click on a repeater, this will make sure that you're dead center on the repeater and not, off by a few hertz. It sometimes you got to turn it off for certain applications, but generally you can leave it on. I guess that's pretty much everything for the, this is important here. This is the little audio tab, which we talked about in a few TechNets ago. When you want to pipe your audio, this is the little menu you have to have. So if we stop the waterfall here and we go to audio, we can actually change the output device. So if you're doing like slow scan TV using MMSSTV with one of these, and you have virtual audio cable, this is where you would come to select cable output or cable input. So you'd click on output and select cable input. I just have it here on my headphones because this is what I'm using. You can do other stuff like add latency, change the sample rate, which is grayed out for some reason. Filter audio is a setting that you do want to turn this off if you're doing slow scan TV, because this will actually filter out some of the noise and it'll just clean up the signal a little bit. If you're listening to something and it's got like a bad buzzing or some kind of strange noise that you don't want, you can turn on filter audio to see if that helps you out. It might do something, it might not. But you do want to turn this off if you're doing slow scan TV or satellite stuff, because it will, mess up that. You don't want it to be filtering your data. You only want it filtering for listening purposes. So
Joseph, one of the things that bothered me about this program when I first started getting into it was the hamburger and how to move the little window tabs around and stuff. Could you actually just take 3 or 4 minutes and show us the hamburger and the window tabs real quick?
Absolutely. So if you have an older version of this program, you'll still have the hamburger, but it won't look like this. You'll just have all of these menus like this one and this one and this one. They'll just all be stacked on top of each other, and you can scroll up and down. But for some reason, they decided, hey, our program isn't good enough. We've got to go and add this new layout thing. So when you click the hamburger, this is all the different plugins and menus that SDR Sharp has. So if it's got a little asterisk next to it, that's probably a plugin. If it doesn't, then it's like a built-in thing. I actually downloaded the community package, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. And this is why I have so many different entries here. But if you're using the default thing, you might only have like 10 or 11 of these entries. But so this is how you get different stuff to show up. So for example, if we want to pull up the Magic Eye configuration panel, which this little circle here that you see, that's the Magic Eye. That just is like those old-fashioned radios used to have these tuning eyes in them, and it would turn green when you were on a signal. This is just like a virtual version of that. So what you can see I did was I clicked here, I went down, and I found where it said Magic Eye, and I clicked it. And that brought up the little menu for the configuration. So I can change settings about it. I can make it an analog SWFL meter. I can make it these different styles, and I can like change the size.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is how you get to the different menus. Is you click on this little hamburger, and you can scroll this up and down a little bit. But yeah, this is how you get to them. So they used to all be here at once. Now it's
when you bring them up, then you can move them over to those side tabs so they're out of the way. See how there's little on the left and right, there's like side tabs, and you can move those around. Yeah. Don't think if I click in what you got there. You can. This is completely configurable.
So if I put this back here, wait. Okay, yeah. So you can actually get a sort of resemblance of the old menu back if you just pop out a bunch of these, and you like if I bring out I accidentally deleted zoom bar. If I bring out the DSD interface and I click it, you got to click on it and you got to drag it, and it'll give you this little floating menu. Can y'all see the floating menu? I don't know if it'll.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. You can bring it down, and you have these little arrows here, and you can push the up arrow or the down arrow, left.
You drop
and right.
it on the arrow where you want to put it. Yeah.
And now we have 3 of them at once. So they actually don't. It doesn't let me scroll anymore. But
you see that, guys? When he's hovering around with the window in tow, it brings up all these little blue dots telling you all the places you can drop that little window.
Yeah, you can replace the one you're over with the center dot.
Joseph, to you, this seems so simple. To me, this was not simple. Okay. I just want to spend an extra minute on it. You see how all these little blue squares and blue circles come up? You can drop your window that you're carrying down on any of those, and it will stick it right into that spot. It's really cool. Okay. I just wanted to make sure people understand that you're not stuck with the layout the way it is. You can do it any way you want.
Yeah, I've got 4 of these here, and I can put up, one on either side. I can bring. Oh, did we get a chat message?
I think you can even pop them out and put them on separate screens and stuff. It does a lot of really cool.
Yeah, there is a little a small scroll bar. If we go here, there's a little thing on the side you can click and drag the different ones. But so yeah, this interface, I like the old one, but this is also cool. It's just not very intuitive when you first open this program up, because you have nothing, and then you start dragging it around and start snapping in a different location. It's like, whoa, what's going on? But
I don't know why programmers are like, hey, let's make some little trick to figure out how to get into it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Why?
What were they thinking?
Well,
and of course you can X these out. I can close, if I want to close this one, I can close it. And you can pin them too. So there's a little pin icon here. If you hit that, it pins it to the little sidebar. So if I were to pin everything, I can have the full screen be a waterfall. But anytime I want to access one of these menus, I just hover my mouse over it, and it slides out. So I can slide over this one, make some changes, and then go back over here, and it goes away. It slides back in. So I can access my frequency scanner, and then boop, it goes back in. So it is pretty nifty once you know how to use it. It was fine before, but this is cool too, I guess.
They always gotta be changing something.
Yep.
Okay, so we ready to go? Is there anything else or any questions on the actual demonstration? Is there anything else we can show you, or do you want to see how something works?
Oh, we were gonna do plugins.
Yeah, show them the plugins real quick, or basically.
Yeah. So you can install plugins, and there's a couple websites you can get them from. But
Oh, and remotes after that too.
remote stuff, yeah. Okay, we're gonna try and make this quick. So plugins, anything that has an asterisk next to it, that's a plugin that doesn't come by default. If I change my screen sharing here over to my other window,
I'll be right back.
okay. Oh no, the man went away. I don't know how to change my screen. Oh, here we go. Okay, if I change this to show my web browser here, this is the AirSpy website where you download it from. Normally this is what you would get right here, is where it says software defined radio package. You would click the little download. But if you scroll down a little bit, there's the community package with plugins. So this is going to have a collection of all the best plugins in one folder, and you don't have to install them. They come pre-installed. You install the driver the same way, and you run the program the exact same way. The only difference is that it'll have a whole bunch of plugins like I have. So that's pretty cool. Let me go back to SDR Sharp here. So I'm going to show you some of the best plugins. The number one plugin I think is the frequency scanner. We've been using this for Broadcastify for about 2 weeks now. And boy, once you get it set up, it works so well. It's amazing. And this is so much better than like a physical scanner, because you can scan anywhere in the band. Normal scanners will take, a minute or so to scan through an entire band. This will do it like instantly. So as you can hear, I have, might be kind of hard to see because it's going to be small, but I have a couple different groups here. I have 2-meter ham band, 70-centimeter ham band. I have air band in here. I can hit edit scan ranges, and I can add in new groups. You put in the channel spacing size, which is pretty important, because otherwise it's going to scan off frequency and you won't hear anything. This is the scanner. So when you actually click scan, it brings up this little menu down here. And as you can see right now, it's scanning through the air band. You can see that the frequency is changing up there at the top, and you can see it's all messing up the waterfall and everything because it's going through all the frequencies. If it finds a signal, it will stop. Now, you probably won't hear anything because it's 9 o'clock and there's not a whole lot of planes going on at this time. But down here, you can see the whole spectrum that it's scanning, and you can see all the little peaks, which are actually just interference from my shack. But you can turn your squelch up. You can turn your delay up. This is how you do it. That's the frequency scanner plugin, which is like my favorite. We've been using this a lot. Another really good one is this is another really good one for multiple listening. So if I, for example, tune to 147.685 here, it's actually 146.685. So now I'm tuned to the local repeater, right? Well, what if I want to listen to 2 repeaters at once? Well, I can turn on enable here. Let me see what my squelch was at. Squelch was at 80. So if I come over here to aux VFO and I tell this to be also at 80, and I hit enable, I now have 2 separate VFOs. So if I click over here on the simplex frequency and I hit set and I hit enable, now I can go back to the 685, go 146.685. And now I'm listening through my headphones to 2 repeaters at once. And you can even set the audio output to be a different device. So I can have 1 repeater coming through my headphones and 1 repeater coming through my speakers. Or I can have 1 repeater going through cable, virtual audio cable. And then you hit set and you hit enable. And you can listen to multiple frequencies at once. So this is really cool for like Broadcastify, because we can use this dongle on like 5 different repeaters to 5 different streams using 1 device.
That is powerful if you think about it. It's like 5 receivers.
Yeah, it's like having 5.
Actually, it's like
receivers.
1,000 receivers if you really want to get technical. But yeah, it's amazing.
Someone's keying up really strong near me. Oh my gosh.
Holy crap.
Who is that?
They're splotching you out.
It might be my dad upstairs with the HF radio.
Oh,
although it looks like an FM carrier. It looks like FM, so it might be something else. So that's the auxiliary VFO, and you can add, like, if you actually go and install a plugin multiple times, you can add like 30 of these. So you can be listening to 30 frequencies at once, which is a bit overwhelming, but yeah, you can do it. A couple other plugins are like the audio recorder. Wait, where did it go? Why didn't it pop up? Oh, here we go. Okay. You can select the folder where you want to save your recording to, and you just hit record. and now it's recording audio, and it will save that to a file. You can go back and listen to it. You can also go into configure. You can tell it to not record when there's no audio. So this is really good if you want to log all the activity on a repeater. You can turn on the squelch and only record when there's activity. That's another cool thing. Another cool plugin. G-Predict, this is one that, so when a satellite flies overhead, there's Doppler shift. And this will basically change your frequency as it flies overhead to make up for Doppler shift, which is pretty cool. There's a few other in here. Shortwave info. I haven't seen this one. What does this do? Oh, is it gonna? Oh, look at that. It tells you all the different shortwave stations. Wow, that is cool. I didn't even know that was there, but there it is. That is really cool. It tells us the BBC start frequency, station frequency. I don't know why it says start stop. I'm not really sure what's up with that, but BBC jammed. Oh, is that like a what's up with that? Why is it jammed? I wonder if it's the Chinese or the North Koreans who jam radio stations they don't want people to hear. Oh, here's the baseband recorder.
Or it may just be some good music they're jamming. Who
Traffic
knows?
jams.
Yeah.
Here's that baseband recorder, which allows you to actually record the entire spectrum and then play it back. That's really cool. So yeah, we got a whole bunch of plugins here, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of customization.
That baseband recorder. Let me give you an example of somewhere you might want to use that. Let's say you're somewhere and you want to find out what frequency those HTs that the special events people are talking on. You can just park your car in the parking lot, leave your SDR sharp plugged into your tablet recording, okay, and recording a broad frequency about where you think it is and record it raw. And then save it, and you said this earlier, come back to your house, throw it into your SD sharp in your computer, and you can go back and replay that moment in time and listen and figure out not only what frequencies they are, but figure out PL tones or any kind of trunking or any kind of repeating or anything else that's going on with those frequencies. And you can experiment and go back and play it again. Try it with FM, go back, play it again, try it with AM, go back, try it again, try it with PL tone 129.3. You know, you could try it. That's what's neat about recording it in raw, because you can go back and you can act like that moment in time is happening over and over and over and keep playing around with the settings until you get what you want. Really cool.
One last plugin to show you, and that's the CTCSS decoder plugin. I actually use this to figure out everybody's privacy tones down at Gulf Coast Town Center. But as you can see here, when the SARnet keys up, it shows on the actual spectrum 136.5 hertz, and it shows it over here too. So this is like, I use this to tune that old handheld I have, because it's got like a physical set screw for setting the tone. I just keyed up and it says right here, CTCSS 136.5 hertz. So that's another really good plugin is the decoder. And it does other stuff like DCS, which is another privacy method. But oh yeah, and then the remote stations, that's the last thing, okay, is being able to tune into other people's radios. So if we open up the source tab here, which is how you select your hold on, where did it go?
The Hamburglar.
I clicked the Hamburglar and it's gone. It disappeared. Source. Oh, it's in little tabs down here. This is another way to do it, is it's got little tabs at the bottom you can cycle through. Oh my
Lord. They make it complicated, but then once you learn it, you could literally make it do it exactly the way you want.
So we can go to, yeah, that's I didn't even know that was there until now. It's kind of silly, really, but if we go to our source tab, we can select the AirSpy server network. And this is the coolest thing. So if we hit the little 3 dots here, we actually get a map, and hopefully y'all can see this. Y'all can see the map, right?
Yep, we see it.
So this map is showing you all the different receivers spread out over the world. So if, for example, if we want to listen to a receiver, oh, I don't know, we can listen to one in Florida here, but that's kind of boring. Let's go to Brazil. This is a receiver in Brazil. When you click on it, it fills in the, and there we go. We are tuned into Brazil. I'm not sure if this is going to be really slow because I have the bandwidth way up, but that's a bit better. So yeah, now we're tuned into Brazil. We're in the FM broadcast band, but I don't know. You can mess with the gain settings. I think it's acting really slow because it's streaming all the way from over there. don't know what's up with this. Can we hear something? Oh, now we're listening to Brazil radio. It's kind of weak, but... Oh, now we're in airband. Okay.
And just so you know, this is just like we showed you guys. What was that?
Oh, look, Brazilian amateur radio operators.
Yeah, we showed you web. We showed you Web SDR last week. This is just like Web SDR. It's another Web SDR. It's a different resource. It's a different way of doing it. It's different radios in different places. So you've got SDR Sharp, or I mean, you've got the Web SDR, which we showed you last week, and then now you've got this network of radios around the world too that you have access to.
Yeah, so you can tune in anyway.
Let's say you're from Peoria and you wonder, I wonder what it sounds like, the amateur radio in Peoria. Just, you've got it right here. You just got to go to, hopefully if there's either a Web SDR or if there's one of these receivers in the area, you can then go in and listen to 2 meter and 440 repeaters and things like that.
Wondering if I can hear any Brazilian.
You can go listen to the radio stations in your town. If you always wonder, I want to listen to all the rock stations. I wonder what it sounds like going up and down the dial in Cincinnati. Well, you can find out now.
Yeah, this is so cool. And this is all free too. I mean, this is just built into the software.
These are just good people out there doing like we do as good hams and share as much as we can out to everybody else. That's what this is. These are literally people that have shared their SDR with the world.
So Joseph,
yeah,
if you were sharing your SDR with the world, could I just download the software and listen? I wouldn't need the dongle?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
right.
So you can do this now with no dongle. You can tune in and listen to people's SDRs. And the other thing is, if you have a Raspberry Pi or even a Linux laptop, I'm not sure if it'll work on Windows, but you can host your own dongle just the same way these people are doing it. And you can host your dongle so you can connect to it from work, or you can connect to it when you're, leave one of these at your vacation house. And when you're down in Florida or whatever, you can dial into that and listen to the local ham radio traffic or whatever.
And it can be done publicly or privately.
Yeah, you can make these public and then anyone can use them, or you can do private. I have 2 private ones up in Alabama. One's connected to a random wire and one is on a 2 meter antenna. And so I can listen to all the HF traffic and I can listen to all the 2 meter traffic. And I can self-monitor. So if I transmit here with the HF radio, I can see if I can hear myself in Alabama. Which is pretty cool. I mean, you can do a lot of cool stuff with this software. It's probably the best one out there. There are other options, but this one has the most functionality built into it.
The highlight of this segment, folks, he just said a minute ago, if you don't have this, you can still download the software tonight and go on and listen to other people's SDRs around the world, practice with the software and get good, so that when the Amazon guy comes with yours on Sunday, you'll be all set to go.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on that? Any questions there? We're going to go back. We still have some slides to talk about some different units you can buy and some different things. But does anybody have any questions on the live demonstration of the AirSpy SDR Sharp software?
Ryan was saying something about the scroll.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
When you're listening to the other guy's SDRs, do you actually have control over the frequency, or are you just listening to what he's already hooked up to?
No, you can tune around. They can set, a band, like where they want you to be able to access. But you can, whenever you're connected to this thing, you're able to tune it. So I can listen to FM broadcast, or I can go down to the Citizens band, or I can scroll anywhere in here. So yes, you do have control over where the dongle's tuned while you're connected.
Let me mention one thing here. One fundamental difference between this process and the process involved with Web SDR. Web SDRs are very sophisticated, big systems that allow hundreds of people to connect to a single set of receivers. This system allows one person to connect to one SDR sharp or to one SDR machine. So that's the fundamental difference. With the other one, you can turn it on and leave it on all day, and it doesn't matter with Web SDR. I sometimes turn that on, hook it up to SSTV, and let it run all day just to see how many pictures I can get. That's great. If you're using the SDR sharp one, you should be conscious of the fact that while you're using it, no one else can use it. So just use it a little more wisely. That's all.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend using this to, like, you know, monitor
frequency
for a day or something, you know.
Right. It's good for a net or to experiment or to test something, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
while you're
it's also
using the
good for you to
hosts-
learn how to use the stuff too. Go ahead.
So when you're using the host's SDR, he's seeing what you're looking at?
He probably won't be seeing what you're looking at. As far as I know, there's not really a way to monitor what someone is doing with your dongle. But no, I think if he was also connected, see, if you try and connect with two people at the same time, it'll tell you the station is busy. So no, he can't see what you're seeing because you're streaming, you're connecting directly to his server and streaming it to you. So you're the only one who can really see what's going on.
Yeah, and in neither
So the host
service, I
can't
don't
really
believe
use
you're.
his unit until you can't use your unit. You can't use his unit. Well,
No, you are using his unit.
Yeah, only one person can be using it at one time. That includes the owner or any of us. So if one of us is using it, he can't use it. It's basically dead to him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
And yeah, and either one of them, like I said, they're just two different things. But this is a great way to learn how to use the SDR sharp program, because it allows you to start working on it today without actually buying the piece of equipment. Oh, and you can you can take these SDR sharp thing or the web thing I talked about and connect up to it somewhere and go to the SSTV frequencies and see if you hear it. If you do, turn on your SSTV program, connect that virtual cable we told you about, and you can actually decode pictures tonight without a radio right through your computer. So, I mean, this is a great way to practice ham stuff without the HOA ever finding out. All right.
Yeah, you don't need an antenna for this.
Because you don't need an antenna and you're not broadcasting anything out of your house. Okay, so let's, anything else on the live demonstration? Joseph, anything else you can think of?
No, I think we did it.
All right, guys, always, Joseph and I are both always available to help. If you send either one of us a question, we'll be glad to help you. We're both on QRZ with our web. I know my my call sign is KO4EFS, and I'm KO4EFS@gmail.com. And if you send me a question for Joseph, I will forward it to him. And we will answer your questions privately. I'll also work with you over the weekends if you need an hour of my time. I don't mind. If it's something I can help you with. If it's not, I'll get you with an Elmer or with Joseph or with someone that can do it with John. John got me started with several things. John taught me phone competition pretty much. So yeah, so we'll hook you up with somebody. FMARC's got a great Elmer program as well. So there's always help out there. So don't ever get stuck like I am with WinLink, and don't ever get stuck like that. It's terrible. Get the help you need. All right. So anything else with that? Let me go back to the, let me get this going over here. Let's see, view, present, view, share screen. Okay, we're going back over to, we're going to talk about some of the other SDR devices that you can buy out there.
Yes. Yeah, it's not just the $27 dongle, you know. There's a great big world of software-defined radios out there. I guess I can go through this, or you can go through this. I've been doing all the talking.
No, go ahead.
Alrighty. Well, I have one of these here.
You know more about this stuff than I do too. I'd rather hear it from you.
I've got one here. Is the Hack RF1, and I love this. So With the silver dongle, you're limited to about 2-3 megahertz of live bandwidth. You can only receive, no transmit. But for more money, basically, you get one of these things, and man, it opens a lot of doors for you. The Hack RF has a 20 megahertz live bandwidth spectrum. That means you can look at stuff like not necessarily decode, because the software is lacking for that, but you can look at the entire spectrum for like television broadcast. You can see all the way from like 1 megahertz to 20 megahertz. So you can see most of the HF band in like all at once. And that's you can cool. So that bandwidth is really cool. It lets you see other stuff like Wi-Fi. If you start tuning up around 2.4 gigahertz, you can see the waterfall, your Wi-Fi signal. And you can see like LTE for your phone. When you make a call, you can see the signal pop up. It's pretty cool to have that live bandwidth that's so big. And it can transmit. So you got this one here, the Hack RF could do half duplex, which means it can only transmit or receive. It can't transmit and receive at once. It has a built-in preamp, so it can boost your reception pretty good there for weak signals. It's got built-in band filters too. So if you're in a band, to say you have a strong FM station next to you, and you go to a band that's not in the FM station, the software might automatically switch to a filter that only allows the current band in. So those built-in band filters are really nice. That's a really good feature. It goes down to 1 megahertz up to 6 gigahertz. There's some little, those little toy drones people get. Well, a lot of them have a 5.8 gigahertz video transmitter in them. And using a piece of software, you can actually watch that video feed on these devices. So,
that's really cool now.
Yeah.
Hey now.
And the other thing this does is it supports a PortaPack, which there's another slide for this, but I'm not going to talk about the PortaPack right this second, but it's a really cool device. Now that you have transmit, of course.
I was going to say you have transmit. I was just going to say we're talking 500 milliwatts.
Yeah, it depends on the band. If you go up to 6 gigahertz, you're going to get for barely anything, and if you go down real low, you might get like 400 or 500 milliwatts. It's a strange. I don't know why. They have
you would use it with an amplifier of some kind.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing QRP, really QRP stuff. But
yeah.
But here's the thing: you could hook this to the right piece of equipment, and it becomes your two-way radio.
Yeah.
You could take this, and there's this little 25 or 50 watt amplifier for VHF, and there's one for UHF. You could take that and put this on here, and it would easily bring it up to 5 or 8 or 10 watts, where you could hit repeaters and stuff with it. So I mean, there's stuff. Yeah, there's stuff you can do. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. But this is basically a radio minus the big finals to get it out at the end, because it's just like the radio part of it without the booster. So anyway.
Yeah, it is a really cool device. But wait, don't change slide yet. The software capabilities of this thing, and this is where it gets really juicy, and you could potentially get yourself in a lot of trouble, because if you have a radio that can transmit anything and receive anything, you can do stuff like recording and playing back a signal. So you know how we talked about the baseband recording? You can play back that baseband and actually retransmit it back out. So you can do these things called replay attacks, which is where you would say, record somebody's garage door opener and then play that signal back, and you'd use this device to open somebody's garage door.
Do I need to beep this out? I think I need to beep this out. You guys didn't hear any of that. We would never do anything like that anyway.
Oh no, we would definitely never do that.
Oh my Lord. So you could basically this is how crazy this is. You could put this in your car and let it run with an antenna on the roof. And then the next day when you come back to work, you could run that same thing again, and it would unlock everybody's car doors, because when they came out, they all hit their key remotes. Well,
thankfully, most cars have protections against that, but
that's great.
Most modern cars, they use like a one-time key sort of thing. So if you retransmit it, nothing will happen. But
that's smart.
Older cars, definitely.
Yeah.
Older cars, you could probably do that.
I'm glad they're fighting against that, because it seems like that'd be relatively easy.
Yeah. Well, Yeah,
that's not good. I'm glad they found a way to do that.
yeah, it is a bit scary, but thankfully this kind of thing doesn't happen a whole lot. These cost
Yeah.
about $300, the Hack RF, so they're a bit pricey, but I don't know if that is something that discourages people from just getting them and messing around with them.
I found a key remote that is really secure. I put this in the little hole in the door. It works great. All right, so what are we done with this one?
Just two more things.
Okay, go ahead. I'm not rushing you, I swear to God.
No, that's fine. You can analyze signals using Universal Radio Hacker, which is another program, but that is a very, very complicated program. But the gist of what you can do with it is analyze the actual bits, the ones and zeros that stuff transmits out, and retransmit them. For one of the things I did was I had a little radio controlled car, and I used Universal Radio Hacker to record the remote control and then play that signal back. So Universal Radio Hacker is just another like replay, record, and playback kind of program. But you could do stuff like actually analyze the bits and see what key codes are being sent out and stuff like that. You can see wideband stuff like TV or Wi-Fi. I already said that. You can spoof things. All right. You can spoof GPS, which means if someone had their phone near this thing while it was running, you could make their phones think they were in a different location. You can spoof RDS, which
hence
is,
his screen name.
Joseph Hacker. Yeah.
Yeah.
RDS is a cool little thing. If you're in your car and it has a little LCD display for like telling you the radio station, some stations will actually send out like the current song that's playing, and it'll show the song name. You can spoof that, so make it show any kind of text you want. The only real limitation of this is the half duplex, so you can't do stuff like radar with it, as far as I know, because that would require full duplex. But you can do a lot of cool stuff with this, and that doesn't even include the Hack RF, which the Portapack, which we're going to talk about in a second here. The Portapack. Okay, so this is where things get really spicy with this device. This basically turns your Hack RF into a portable computer with a touchscreen on it and battery power. So it can power it using an internal battery. It can output audio to a pair of headphones. You can see the waterfall and the spectrum scope on the little touchscreen. And you can operate the device using the touchscreen as well and the little rotary encoder there. But the software that this device runs, the Portapack, is pretty insane. I can't even believe this stuff exists because of how insane it is. But it can record and replay signals. It can act as a two-way radio, so you can use this like a walkie-talkie if you've got headphones plugged in. It has a built-in, literally 3 buttons that you push, and it'll start spoofing GPS or RDS or ADSB. This thing is insane. You can get in a whole lot of trouble with this. It can spoof pretty much anything.
Not that we would ever use it for that.
Not that we would ever do that.
We're doing ham stuff.
Yeah, this is for testing only.
Testing, yes.
Yeah, it's for educational purposes. Yes.
And I don't mean testing your neighbor's garage door.
You can hack somebody's teleprompter.
Yeah.
Maybe so. You can transmit with this. Some more legitimate uses would be to transmit APRS. We can do that. TPMS, which is like your car's tire monitoring system. You can decode and transmit that. And it actually can transmit. So this thing will have like an SD card in it. So if you put pictures on there, you can transmit slow scan TV with this thing. So it's got a built-in SSTV transmitter, which is really cool.
Wow.
It can do CW. I think you'd probably key that using the little button. It can transmit pager, like sending pages out, and there's like a giant, enormously long list of stuff this software can do, and they're always adding new things. So that would be the Mayhem firmware that does all this.
Mockingbird.
So yeah, this thing with the Hacker F with the Portapack is like this unstoppable hacking radio machine. Like that, you basically have the power of radio at your hands if you have one of these devices.
What's the cost on? What are we looking at?
So just the Hacker F by itself is about $300, and
Oh,
with
just
a Portapack,
$300. I'll stroke a check.
you can actually get on Amazon one of these a Hacker F with a Portapack on it for like $250, I think. but it ships from China and takes like a year to get here. So I don't know
It's
how.
on the slow boat, the really
Yeah.
slow boat.
You can get these on Amazon, and Banggood has them too. But I tried to order them from Banggood not too long ago, and it never shipped. So I wouldn't recommend that. But so yeah, that's the PortaPack with HackRF, man. That's like the ultimate radio hacker. Another good one, which I think it's a bit cheaper actually, but it's the add-on Pluto. This is a very, very common one. A lot of people have these. It does 325 megahertz to 3.8 gigahertz. So it doesn't have 2 meter, but it does have 440 ham band. 20 megahertz live bandwidth, just like the HackRF, but it can also do full duplex transmit. So you can do radar and you can do Wi-Fi stuff and you can do cellular stuff with this. I've seen passive Wi-Fi. I've seen active Wi-Fi done with this before too. This thing has a lot of potential, but of course, remember, you got to be in that field. You got to have the knowledge to be able to program it and everything, because there's not a whole lot of, like, you can't just go on the internet and say, oh, active radar add-on Pluto software, and then just have a thing that's going to like work. It's not that simple, but this is another good alternative to the HackRF. I think it costs less money. Has less bandwidth, less spectrum coverage, but yeah. There are a lot of projects though for it, more so probably than the HackRF. The only limitation, of course, is just the software. So another alternative to the HackRF, but pretty similar in terms of everything else besides the RF coverage. And the last device here, this applies more to the, well, actually, this will apply to any dongle, but mostly the RTL SDR. A standard RTL SDR can go down to the HF band, but of course, this is only in direct sampling mode, which means you have a lowered sensitivity. So signals will be, moderately weaker when in direct sampling mode. So it's not the ideal HF receiver, this RTL SDR. But that's what this ham it up converter is for. It costs about $60 on Amazon, I think. And it'll basically turn your dongle into a full performance HF receiver. I have one of these. I can vouch for it that it does work. That's what I have connected to a long wire up in Alabama. And man, it works really good. It shifts all the frequencies up to 125 megahertz. So if you're setting up your server or you're setting up SDR Sharp, you do have to turn on that little shift button I showed you earlier and put in 125 megahertz so that everything is lined up correctly. But this is another.
And this is why you use two dongles, because one goes to this and it does HF. The other one just goes directly out to a 2 meter 440 antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this isn't really an SDR, but it's a pretty good accessory.
Yeah, but if you add this to this, if you take your dongle and you add it to this, and you add it to a long wire antenna that's properly placed out there, you should get the same performance as your ICOM or your Yazoo.
Yep.
Receiving. So we're talking a professional quality receiving HF radio that can go anywhere you want for about $80-$90.
Yep. I think this is the end of our,
Yes, it is. Okay, so that's it, guys. Is there any questions? Any questions on any of the stuff with the with the dongles or with the software, the STR Sharp software, or any of the devices we showed you? Any questions for Joseph? As I always say, you either did a really good job or you've put them to sleep. I don't know which. All right. I say that every week, but it's true. All right. So there we go. So that's it, guys. That's the SDR Sharp. I recommend everybody download it today. Use it this weekend. If you don't have a dongle, order one on Amazon for $27. And don't order all that crap that comes with it unless you just want it. Look, if you have nothing and this is the first thing you've ever bought, go ahead and buy that $20 pack. It'll give you an antenna. Find out which way up is that, and make a dipole out of it and stick it outside your window. You'll get some performance out of it. But for the rest of us, if you've already got even a car antenna that you can bring in and use, it's going to be anything's better than that stupid pack it comes with. Okay, that's it. I guess that's about it. I love it right now over here. I've got SDR Sharp running in scanner mode, scanning 20 amateur bands. I hear John on there talking to people almost every morning. With the what do you guys call it? The pharmaceutical net, the early bird net, and the chicken and the egg net, or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of them really, really early nets out there.
Sometimes I call it the hypochondriac.
The hypochondriac net.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I love it. Yeah, if you guys are like, if you drive to work early in the morning, check our repeaters out, because we've got 3 or 4 groups of guys they'd invite you in to talk. They talk about whatever ails them. All right, guys.
Have to move to other subjects.
All right, so let's talk about hurricanes. We've got Hurricane Elsa out there. I hear that she was in some Disney movie. Now she's in the Caribbean wreaking havoc on the Windward Islands. But anyway, Hurricane Elsa is kind of heading in this general direction. And I really actually think that we're probably going to get some of this one. So I do want to spend a few minutes tonight just showing you guys kind of where we're at with this. And then right after this, I've got a couple of really cool things to talk to you guys about as well. So don't go anywhere. If you're not much into the hurricane, just take a break for a minute. I'm not going to be on this too long, but I do want to show you guys exactly what's going on with these hurricanes. Let me get over here. All right. Where we are right now. This is the 8 o'clock advisory that just came out from the National Hurricane Center. And it's showing basically, hold on, let me get the screen done right. There we go. All right, and this is basically showing you where we're at here. This is the 8 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center. The maximum sustained winds are holding steady at 85 miles an hour. That makes it a moderate Category 1 hurricane. Movement is west-northwest at 30 miles an hour. And currently we've got hurricane warnings up for the western part of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and also for the entire Jamaican island, all under hurricane warnings tonight. And then we've got hurricane watches up for the eastern half of Cuba. Hurricane watches up for the eastern half of Cuba. So what this is a concern, because as we know, you don't need a direct hit to have some kind of impact from this thing. I was very surprised this morning when I'm in the shack and I hear banging going on outside. And so I go out to see what's going on, and my wife is out working in the shed. I'm like, what are you doing, baby? And she looked at me and she said, what's that plan of yours, phase 1? She was getting the generator out. She's worried about it running. It's been a couple years. You know, I haven't started it up in almost a year. She wants to go ahead and get it out, get it started up, clean the carburetor out. So we got the whole thing cleaned out. So we've just decided we're proactively doing this. We've got the yard all picked up already. We've cut down some branches. We're doing the things we got to do. So I think it's important to just be ready for this thing, because it is something that's going to end up probably affecting us in some way. Let's take a look at some of the satellite imagery out here. I'm going to go ahead and pull down the latest one. These are from a few minutes ago, so I want to get the latest one. This is what they call infrared satellite imagery. And as you guys know, during the day, we see visible satellite imagery. Visible satellite imagery gives us a lot more definition. It's normally white and grays, and it's like a photograph. When we see this colored image like this is an infrared image. And what infrared images basically are is we're looking at the temperature of the cloud tops. And the colder cloud tops indicate a taller storm. A taller storm is a stronger storm. Okay, so those reds and yellows you see in the center, that is an intensely cold storm, the cold cloud tops. Believe it or not, a hurricane needs a cold cloud top cover on top, a high pressure cloud top on top to feed it. So anyway, I want you to notice something that's probably the one thing that I noticed the most on this. Where's my annotation bar? Does one of you guys have my annotation bar? Oh, there it is. Would you believe this stupid program put one bar right on top of the other one? Okay, so what I want to basically show you here is, if I can get this thing to work. Do you guys see all this out here, how it goes out like this? That that is all outflow. Okay, that is what they call outflow, and what outflow ends up doing is this is basically the exhaust of the storm. And what we're looking at here is a storm that's actually set up very well. We've got a very typical looking buzzsaw starting to form up. We've got very good ventilation coming out of the storm all on the top. I want you to notice something else. We had a lot of dry air rotating into this storm earlier. We do not have that dry air now. This orange is the dry air. Notice the dry air is receding at this time away from the storm. This was being sucked into the storm right here about 12 hours ago, and it's now being excluded from the storm. It's being pushed away. And so that was the one thing that was keeping it from developing. And it was the one thing when it drew away that it was able to allow it. This behind it here, there's some Saharan dust back here, but it's not an issue. With this outflow is keeping all this stuff far enough away that it's not really affecting anything. And this storm has been allowed to grow. But it's got some hard air out ahead of it. It's got some hard conditions out ahead of it, and it's going to have some real problems going forward. So here's another shot of it. This is a different, I actually prefer this one over the other one. This just shows you basically some different colors, some different wavelengths. But you can see we're starting to get what they call a symmetrical storm system, meaning that the top and the bottom and the sides, they're all about the same size. And once you see a storm system becoming symmetrical like this, the next thing we start to see is an eye starting to form. An 85-mile-an-hour storm starting to get good enough that we might see an eye forming. We're down about 990 millibars of mercury here. So it's entirely possible that we may see a little hint of an eye by morning, because it looks like we're trying to get a strong wrap right here in the center. And if we get that, we could see an eye in the morning. Let's take a look at some of the model runs. This is the first thing I want to look at. This is probably one of the most important graphs you're going to look at. You don't see it on TV that much. I don't know why. I don't think they want to confuse people, but I'm going to show you what this is. It's real easy. Okay, this is why this is so important. What this is basically telling us is what we're going to be dealing with wind-wise when this gets here. Now, when is this going to get here? Well, we're looking for it to arrive on Tuesday. Okay, if it's going to arrive on Tuesday, I have to keep switching this back and forth from my mouse to my whatever. See the bottom down here? These are hours. The bottom is hours. The left side is miles per hour. Okay, I'm sorry, wind speed in knots. My bad. Knots are just a little lower than miles an hour. Okay, notice that here's your hurricane force winds right here. This is 72 miles an hour, or about 65 knots. Okay, that's hurricane force winds. What this is the model runs. This model thinks that it's going to weaken pretty fast. This model thinks it's going to strengthen all the way up to a category 3 right there. So those are your outliers. So we're pretty sure they're not going to do anything, because your outliers are generally nothing. You want to take your ones that are in the middle. Here's the ones we really care about right here. So we're going to start looking out. Where do these go? Where do these go? Well, we are out now. It's Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we're out about 84 to 96 hours. So what we're really interested in is when this thing is going to make its closest approach to us, which is kind of in this line right here. That's when it's going to be closest to Southwest Florida. So we want to look at, where do the models think it's going to be? Here's a disturbing trend that I'm noticing tonight. Some of the models believe that after it leaves Cuba, it's going to strengthen again. It's going to hit some really warm water right below Florida, below the Keys, just like Irma did, and several other storms. And it's going to, it could strengthen a little bit there. Okay. And so there is a number of models here that are starting to show this thing. Hey, I think it's going to come down to tropical storm, but then I think it's going to go back up to hurricane. So what I see with this thing is we have to kind of be ready for a Cat 1 hurricane to be right off our coast. So that's kind of where we're at. That's where the models are putting this right now, is a Category 1 or a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. Notice nothing up here. Nothing up here. That's the best news. This is not going to be an Irma. It's not going to be a Charlie. It's not going to be a Katrina. Okay. It's not going to be a Wilma, but it could still be a really bad day for the coast, and it's going to be a really nasty day for the rest of us. Okay. But I do want you to notice right now, none of the models have this going above upper category 1 strength. And that is so important tonight as we go forward. Let me switch this. I get better with this every night, guys. All right, let's take this model, run back. This is the GFS model. This is windy.com. If you guys would like this resource, it's yours. It's free. It's called windy.com, windy.com. There's my ad because I'm using their resource. I figured I'd give them a free one. All right, this is an amazing resource. I think these are like television ready graphics here, but okay. This is where it's at right now. And you can see down here at the bottom, you get to choose where you want to go on the timeline. This shows you over here which model run we're going to do. I've got it on the GFS, which is the US model. We're set for wind. Everything's set to go. So now I'm going to animate this. And this is actually going to run what the consensus of the US models has come up with. And it's going to show me the wind. The darker colors of the wind field. Notice down here, the colors. This purple color is like 40 miles an hour. So that's tropical storm force winds, that purple color. So you can see this model's not really developing it that well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to refresh this just to make sure we didn't get a new model run. Yeah, that does look a little different. But you can see as we move forward, you can see the time down here. That's Sunday at 1 a.m. This is an amazing tool, an amazing tool. And as we come in, I want you to notice that it shows it getting really tore up, really tore up. It doesn't look like a hurricane much at all. Then it gets back together again. But the good news here is, as it's getting back together, it's already parallel with us. So it's going to be a strengthening storm as it goes by. And according to the models here,
150 miles off the coast.
yeah, that's true too. And a strengthening, strong tropical storm 50 or 100 miles off the coast is nothing but a rainy day for us. So that'll be the good news. And of course, this will take it in, I don't know, up around Panama City or somewhere up there. Now, the good news, the Euro, you guys know the Euro is always the best performing model for the last couple of years. The Euro tends to want to wash this thing out and move it off into the Atlantic. And then reform a circulation over here in the Gulf that just moves off and it's harmless. See it reforming there right off the coast? See it still wants to form something there. But again, it doesn't form anything that's anything really. But it's just interesting that the Euro washes it out and then reforms it back in the Gulf again. There's something weird with these model runs. Anyway, this storm's had
it up into the Bahamas yesterday after it dissipated just back.
Yep. Yeah, the Euro was horrible yesterday. It's getting more in consensus with the US now, which I think is more like what it's going to actually do. So anyway, that's that. And let's see, I think that's about what we got here on that. Yeah, that's an amazing resource we have here with this. Any questions on hurricanes or the resources that we have for hurricanes here? I'd be glad to talk about it. Okay. All right. And all this stuff, I'm going to show you where you can find all of this stuff here in just a minute. All right. So let me stop share and go back to this. All right. I am going to switch the order of these slides here, and we're going to go back and we're going to view slide and we're going to screen capture. Guys, if you had any idea how much producing is being done here. Okay, this is the website, drum roll, website of the week. Mike's weather page. I figured it would be a good time to plug my old buddy Mike, the weather page. This guy's really nice. I've actually spoke to him one time, and I've communicated with him back and forth. Real nice guy. He is just an average guy like me. He's a weather enthusiast that's just absolutely into hurricanes. He just absolutely loves them. And he's created this amazing website, and you guys can go there. And when you're in the website, it has everything. It's real-time weather data. It's a one-stop resource where you can go there and everything you need is right there. You don't need to go to 3 different places and check all these different websites. And everything he has there comes from official sources. There's no hacky weird stuff there. It's all stuff from NOAA, the National Hurricane Center, and it's all from reputable sources. He's got an app for iOS and Android, and he's got video updates. He does video updates morning and evening, and even more frequent when there's a storm off the coast. And he does, it's a private website for enthusiasts. It's not a website for you to plan for your family necessarily, that you do that with your local media and with your EOC and with the National Hurricane Center. This is more for enthusiasts to go and just deep dive it. And so you should consult NOAA and the media for planning purposes. Okay. And I want to take just a second. Let me just get out of this if I can here. And we're going to come back to field day, I promise. If I can get out of this. I want to show you Mike's weather page. This is Mike's weather page. This is live right now. And let me F8 that. Make sure we got the cleanest, newest version here. The website is called Spaghetti Models, and you'll find it by typing in spaghettimodels.com, spaghettimodels.com, and real easy to find. It'll come right up. It's called Mike's Weather Page. On this page, I have never seen a better resource for weather information. It has every single thing you could ever want here. It even has all the resources to learn how to use the resources, which I absolutely love. And like I said, that website is spaghettimodels.com. And you're wondering, who's it named after? Somebody that eats spaghetti? No, what it is the spaghetti plots, or what they call those plots we just looked at. They call it the spaghetti plots, and they call them spaghetti models is what they call them. They're spaghetti models. They're model runs. And so his website is spaghettimodels.com. Okay, if you look up here at the top, these are all animated computer model runs up here. These are wonderful. We can take these. You can click into any one of these. These are amazing. You go right into here. It'll bring up the model run for the storm. And if it's going to do it here. Wow. I love people's websites. It's so exciting. Our website's so great that it takes forever to load. Okay, I don't know how to do all this. Anyway, it used to be a lot easier than that. But you can click into a lot of these up here, and it will actually bring you into a page where you can just look at the models, all the model runs. They're all right there. Amazing resource. Then you got over here, you got, this is all the live information right now. His Twitter, his Facebook, his Instagram, his YouTube, his email. He updates all this stuff. To talk ready. This is all tropical stuff for all the different things that are going on. Hurricane Harbor, everything. This is his latest video. And then, of course, this column here is for active storms. This column is just general stuff. This is active storms. So you'll go here, and your first active storm will be right here. The one that poses the most danger will be first. And you go here, anything you click brings you directly to the National Hurricane Center resource. So here's the resource right here. Here's all the National Hurricane Center stuff. Here's the map. It's all right there. Go back to here. If I want to see this, I click it. It brings me right to the National Hurricane Center resource. If I want to see this, it brings me right to the image. So it basically is a great way to just go down and see everything. There's all the stuff I showed you earlier. These are the airplanes. When they send out the hurricane hunters, they will send back these little barbs, and these little barbs tell you what the wind speed was at flight altitude. Okay. They'll also start dropping these things. These are dropsons. They'll start dropping dropsons out there. They'll drop this buoy. Basically, it drops from the plane. They put it in a tube and it goes thunk, just like at the bank. And when it drops out of the bottom of the plane, it starts floating down to the earth. And using GPS, the movement of the dropson as it's falling through the atmosphere tells them exactly how fast the wind was blowing right at the moment that it moves the dropson. That plus it's constantly reading pressure all the way down. So between those things, the dropson can provide a lot of information. And then when you find one of these, you call the weather center. I think they give you like $100 if you give it back to them. But anyway, don't quote me on that. The government's gotten real cheap. But yeah, these are all different planes. These are all different missions. You can go in here and check. This is NOAA mission number 2 into Elsa. This plane's out there right now. We've got a 998 millibar reading. Now over here, he's got a 993 millibar reading over here. And so as he's flying around, these are the readings he's getting. So what we'll do, like if we're watching for one, whether it's growing or not, before the National Weather Service even starts to look at this stuff, you can be in here watching the data coming in raw from the planes, from the hurricane hunters. So that's pretty cool stuff. And that's found right here on the main page. Scroll right down on the storm line and click on it right there. And then if there was a second storm, it would start right here. But instead, these are just general maps that you can pull up. There's the windy map. I've showed you windy.com. You know about that. This is pretty cool. This latest weather tweets. He's got all the weather guys from like around the country in here. So this is constantly rolling with all the latest weather tweets from around the country. And he's got it all set up to only get like hurricane hashtags or whatever. So it's mostly relevant stuff. Over here on the right, he's got his social. Oh, in the middle here, this is all general stuff. This is general maps of the tropics, general warning maps for the United States, general maps. And then over here, you've got his Facebook page. And he posts all that stuff on there. You can follow him on Facebook. And then down here, this is all training resources for you. How to learn about the categories and learn about how things work and learn about the models and information on everything, how cyclones work and videos and everything. It's all right there. He's got an amazing set of resources, all a bunch of resources there for you. So if you want to get into hurricanes, this is the website. It's called spaghettimodels.com. I mean, look at this. It goes on and on. And at the very bottom, you can buy one of his Drunk Donkey t-shirts to help out the website. All right, there you go.
The woman, the weather forecaster talking about the Drunk Donkey. You should watch that.
Yes, I think I've heard about that. Yes, he actually posts that from time to time. I've seen that on his feed. Yeah. Yeah, there's a thing in the community out there, guys. You might not know it, in the meteorology community. It's just like everybody else. Like the only people that know about law are the cops. Well, it's the same thing in meteorology. The only people that can say anything about meteorologists, you got to be a meteorologist. Well, you know, sorry. I know a lot about meteorology, okay? And I even play one on the radio. So you don't have to be a meteorologist to know what you're talking about the weather. And this guy's really good, and this guy never says anything that's outside the bounds of what's going on, and he never says anything that's contrary to anything that's been issued for life safety. So it's really crap that there's some of these meteorologists out there like, you shouldn't go to websites that are not AMS certified TV stations. Yeah, like we trust TV stations. I work at one. So anyway, I like this. Like I said, if you want planning information, your EOC, the National Hurricane Center, and your local media. If you're wanting to deep dive hurricanes, this is it. Mike's weather page. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about, and I'm just going to do this without even switching back and forth. It's just easier. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is field day. I just want to do a quick overview. How did it go? If anybody'd like to tell us how they did. I heard that it went very well out at the FMARC field day event out there. I worked you guys on, I don't know how many bands. I think 7 bands I worked you guys on. It was a bit amazing. And we did good. We did everything from 440 to 2 meter, all the way down, I think, to 80 meters. I was getting you guys.
Hey, I got a bunch of drone shots. Can I show a few of these on here?
Oh yes, my goodness, absolutely. Let me clear out. Yes, go.
Here, let me share. Sure. You know, I'll see it.
Look at Joseph with his drone shots, man.
I put my DJI Spark up in the air.
That's a good picture, dude.
I have some better ones.
You sent these to Steve for the website?
I didn't send them to Steve. I should though. I sent them to John.
Send them to
Joseph. I forwarded them to Steve, Tom, Rich, and Don.
Okay, yeah, that's
good. Your antenna from the air, John. That's your big thing you had out. So they had the trailer. There were a lot of people here.
Yeah. The club has a nice trailer.
At one point, I counted 35 people under the awning on this side, and there were more down on the other end.
Wow.
Are you doing it?
Go out. Go out. No, I don't have one. That you were threatening to hit it with a bat. Go out. I do not have a tape measure. Let's see. This is one where I just kind of flew back from the.
Joseph, we're seeing the same exact picture we've been seeing since the very beginning. I'm just making sure we're seeing the right thing.
Really? Oh, I know what happened.
Yeah, we've been seeing that same. It's a great shot though, bro.
Gee, that's so dumb. I shared the window, and then when I clicked the new image, it came up with a different one, and it didn't change. That's my fault. Wait, hold on. I have one. Okay, I'll share this, and it will not change, and it's a video. Share. There we go. Hopefully y'all can see that. I'll kind of skip through this real quick here. Go up to when I took a really good shot back here. Was it this one?
If you want to play a little bit of it, that's fine. We're not in that big a rush.
Here it was. This was the good shot right here.
Let it play a little bit.
Y'all can see it playing okay?
Well, it's skippy, but it's getting better. There's Steve, president of the club. We got points for that table, by the way.
Nice.
I
didn't mean to catch you, John.
Of course, it's field day. You get points for everything. If everyone there had a pulse, it was 100 points.
Well, I don't think that's quite accurate, but we got points for Joseph operating.
There you go. Joseph actually got you 2 or 3 multipliers, I think.
And also his sister and brother.
Yep. Yeah, they got you some malts.
Malts. I asked Ian if he had what malts were.
Malts.
Yeah.
That's what you drink at the end of the night if you're not getting any contacts.
Yeah, this was cool though. I didn't hit any antennas, thankfully, with the drone.
Hey, look, it's the club's new communication bus.
Ooh,
there was one shot where you got awfully close to a long wire, I noticed.
Yeah. Although I was looking at the drone, not through the screen when I did that, so I could see where I was going.
That's the back end of one of our finest trailer parks up here.
Really?
Need a little background music here.
Yeah.
I did one where I flew around this one, circled it.
You know, that trailer's been around a long time. I was a communications specialist with EOC back in the mid 90s, and the club had that trailer back then.
Wow.
So, and I actually set that trailer up in Florida City after Andrew.
Wow.
And we had public safety communications equipment on it. It was that bad. We needed whatever we could get.
That's really cool. I didn't know that trailer had so much history attached to it.
Yeah, it does. It does. And at first I wasn't sure it was the same one, but after I got underneath it and started looking around, it's the same one. It's a great trailer.
I know it's been here longer than I have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've set that trailer up. I can't say 100%, but I'm 98% sure from everybody I talked to out there that I set that trailer up myself several times. 25 years ago. I know that sounds crazy, but oh my God, I do believe that's the same trailer. It's in good
Wow.
shape. It's in good shape. Is that Leo 4's rig?
The
That looks
trailer?
like no, that vertical there. It looks like Leo 4's vertical.
Oh,
Oh, it's skipping a little bit. It's skipped over to something else now.
I think that was the one out here was John's, and then this one here might have been my W4CMH, his one.
No,
That was
the one you're
Leo's, yeah.
The one you're circling, Joe, just to the right, to your right.
This one?
That one, that is Leo's push-up pole. He was using a long wire and a push-up on a tripod,
Oh.
and the wire actually went over to the corner of the fence. There you go.
Oh, okay. I see the tripod
Yeah,
up there.
there's
I
another.
didn't see it at first.
Yeah, there it is.
I
I
don't
think
think
I did.
John's antenna was set up yet when you did this.
No, it must have not been because he had his right at the. Yeah, he had his right here, and it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. There was Leo's system. He had it. Oh yeah, I can see the cable on the video going all
You
the way
know,
across. there.
I am finding myself suffering from drone envy tonight.
It's a pretty cool little toy.
It hurts a little bit too. It's not good.
No, you haven't seen what this thing can do, man. I send it up
No,
to
I
like.
know. I'm already impressed.
How long did it take you to learn how to fly it?
Oh, it's so easy, man. You just have two sticks, push it forward, and it goes forward. It's got
So that's
GPS
my
and everything.
antenna, Ian.
Yeah, this was
Nice.
yours.
Nice. I see all the counterpoises coming out.
Yep, I flew it up a little bit here to get a wide.
Does that have like an what is it, NVIS or something like that?
No, that's strictly a vertical with
Just a vertical.
9 radials.
Nice. That's all you need anyway. That NVIS thing Leo was showing me though. That's really good if you're trying to hit a station that's like 200 miles away for like POTA or something, low wattage. That was kind of a neat thing. I didn't know anything about that.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, this is my. Yeah, here's the long wire I almost hit, but I went above it. Yeah. I was watching it, making sure I didn't hit anything.
Well, I thank you, Joseph, for bringing these. I didn't know you had all this, and this is awesome.
Yeah, sure. We can go back to whatever you were.
No,
wanted
this
to
is.
do.
I wanted to talk about what you guys did out at Field Day, but we just saw it. Let's open it up now to anybody that worked Field Day. How'd you guys do? Who wants to go first? Thoughts, impressions, feelings,
Impressions.
rage against the machine.
John raged against the machine for a second.
All
there.
right.
Yeah, I wish I had a tennis racket.
There you go. Well, I worked from home and I had a great time. And I will tell you guys, I only worked 9 phone contacts, and I'll tell you why. My noise floor was so bad this weekend. On 20 meters, my noise floor was so high I couldn't hear anybody. So all I did was phone just to get multipliers. That being said, I cheated and used FT8 and I got 400 contacts. And I want to say, honestly, I put the word I cheated before that because I feel bad because they double that. That's 800 points. And then I got like 12 multipliers. I got like 1 billion points. And it's not fair because they were FT8 and I don't think it's fair. And I don't want to get into a big argument tonight. I think we may do this one night though and have a little debate on here. But I don't think it's fair to give 1 point for phone and 2 points for FT8. I think it should be the other way around. If anyone wants to speak on that real quick.
I agree.
I can't argue with that.
And I'm an FT8 guy. And I'm saying that. It's
and
not
so am I.
fair because I love working phone. And I loved working phone out there with you when winter.
You can bet if it had been the other way around, I'd have been working phone.
Me too. Yeah, well,
Hey,
other
Joseph,
than my noise
back up
floor
just
issue,
a
but
few frames.
oh yeah, Joseph, back up just a few frames.
I did.
Stop right there. See the little white car down in front?
Yeah. The one
That
by
is-
the truck or the other one?
No, the little white car.
Oh, that one.
That is K4HKA's brand new Tesla.
Wow.
Now, you may have been on a couple of the nets that he's been talking about that car and how to put a ham radio in it. So I was joshing him on one of the nets a couple of weeks ago before he actually got the car. He just got the car the Sunday before field day. But I was harassing him about I was going to bring my drill and drill the hole in the top of the new car for his NMO antenna. And so I actually brought a battery operated drill with the biggest bit I could find, which was like 1 5/8 inches. And when I saw him pull in with the car, I started running out there with my drill, and I had a lot of fun out of him with that. The rest of the story is he showed me through the car. He gave me a tour of it and even took me a ride in it. And let me tell you, that sucker will flat lay you back in the seat. That's got some torque and fun little car. Anyway, I had a lot of fun chasing him around with my drill and my big drill bit.
That's cool. It's a neat little car. From this angle, it looks like a Federation Type 3 shuttlecraft.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's
But
got-
anyway,
I think that was by design.
You know you're in trouble
Yeah.
when it turns a steel wheel around.
I see an antenna on it.
Did he?
I see two antennas.
No, hold on.
Yeah, I think a little mag mount on the trunk lid.
No,
Yeah.
hold on, Ian. Are you looking?
Oh,
at the
no,
red-
that's on the truck next to it.
Yeah, it's in between the red car and the truck. That's the one we're talking.
Oh,
about.
it's this one down here.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
the Tesla.
Oh, it's the one where the roof is made out of glass.
Yeah, yeah.
No thanks. Stuff falls on me a lot. Okay, let's see. Besides, I've always got 3 cats sleeping on the roof of my vehicle. That'd be a mess. All right.
A little hard to scratch glass up with the metal.
There's Steve.
Yep, there's Steve.
And if I was out there, that'd have been me there with the fan right in my face. You'd have heard me. Everything I'd have said, you'd have heard the fan.
Believe me, we all had fans.
Oh, man. All right. So we're good there. Let's get back over here. All right, guys, hang with us. We've got some cool stuff coming up. We're going to go right through it. Anything else on field day real quick before we go on?
We did about 200 more contacts than last year.
Nice.
We had more media presence than I've seen in several years for field day, including 2 live blurbs on TV
Nice.
on somebody else's station.
Yeah, well, news cycle. What can I tell you? I tried, actually. I actually sent the stuff in, went back and talked to him. It was in the book, but it didn't it didn't happen.
Yeah, but also some print media and things and better media coverage than we've had in several years.
That's good.
Lots of people, lots of visitors. Some of the important people that give you multipliers were there, so that was good. Anyway, enough about field day. It was a good one.
It was good. And just to let you guys know, Winter Field Day is just 6 months away, and John, my buddy, is running the thing. So I'd go.
That's right. Mark your calendars now for Winter Field Day, last weekend of January.
Yeah,
There's
it'll
my
be here
plug,
before
Ian.
you know it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I just wanted, this is my thought of the day. You guys know I have a thought every day, and I just want to just remind everybody of something. Yeah, I know this one's a little harsh. Most of my thoughts of the day have been a little benign. This one's a little more harsh. I'm sorry. And I apologize if this offends anybody out there, but we don't need self-appointed radio cops, guys. I've noticed that some hams enjoy scolding and embarrassing folks publicly on the air. I personally, as a ham, believe it needs to stop. I think that we need to work on saving the hobby. And I believe that if we run folks off, that we're not saving the hobby. I've never really understand the propensity that some hams have to want to sit around the shack and play radio policeman. And they want to sit there and listen for someone to break the rules. And then when they break the rules, they break in and embarrass the out of them. Okay. And I don't like that. It happened to me a bunch of times when I was new. It's the reason I don't pass traffic now, because I hear people being scolded constantly for not saying the right thing on the traffic net, or saying, oh, that was letter group, not number group, or whatever. And I'm very sensitive to public correction. I always have been. I don't know why. My parents were great, but for some reason, I have been very sensitive to public correction because I'm a perfectionist. I like to do things properly the first time. And I'm retired from the government, which means that when I do something, I like to study it, learn about it, be taught about it, train on it in private, understand it, get a basic mastery of it, and then go out and perform it in the public for people to see. That's both the way I do it in radio, and that's the way I did it at the government. Ham radio is kind of different. What a lot of people in ham radio will tell you is, this is a practice net. Just come on the net and screw up big, and we're going to correct you on the net. But you've got a lot of people like me that will shy away from an opportunity like that, because I will not go on a public net and do something that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to go on and pass traffic on a traffic net if I don't know how to do it. And I'm going to do that. But I don't know how to do it. I've kind of got a real good idea because I've been listening for a while, and I've actually passed a message when I did the when I did the Aries net the other day, a couple months ago, whatever. So I mean, I know.
That for a moment, Ian.
Sure.
It's interesting that you bring that up as it concerns the traffic net, because I know the current leadership of the traffic net is very, very focused on doing proper training and not chastising people on the air as a former official of that net did.
Right.
That said, that guy still gets on there from time to time and runs his mouth.
Right.
And but he's got no official capacity anymore to do so.
Right.
And as far as the training, I do know that there are going to be more training sessions for NTS coming down the road now that things are starting to open up a little bit. So I hope you do, because that's interesting stuff. I used to think it was pretty much horse crap, but I've kind of understood better the need for it and the viability of it. And
I'm like you. I used to think it was horse crap. I don't think it's horse crap. I think it's a wonderful, fundamentally basic way for us to send checked information that can be trusted from one radio operator to another. I think it's a wonderful skill. And I think our traffic crew, and I want to make sure I say this because these words might look a little harsh on the screen, but let me say this clearly. Our current traffic guys that run our traffic net here in Lee County are great. They're nice. They're great. But even if you go, no, I'm sorry, that's letter group, that's number group, it's still public correction. So all I'm saying is, like, and when I brought up the traffic net, that's the least of the problem. That's just one of the things. The biggest one I don't like is when people are talking and someone will correct them because they haven't ID'd every 10 minutes, or someone will correct them because they made the tone go off on the repeater and now they're going to get mailed some blue crystal in the mail. Those are the kind of things. And when I first became a ham.
Let's separate these out a little bit, Ian. The
Okay.
ID requirement, that's a legal requirement.
Sure it is. It's not a legal requirement for you to correct somebody on the air about it, though.
For somebody to chastise you about a blue crystal, or for somebody to tell you, well, you should say on the 685, that is a matter of operating style. They need to mind their own bleeping business.
Mm-hmm.
And, fortunately, we don't have a whole lot of them, but we do have a few Karens locally. And once in a while, when I hear something like that, I address it. I just don't address it publicly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very, very recently, I have addressed somebody being a Karen to somebody on the radio.
Well, yeah, and I have addressed it myself through the club with a couple of individuals. And all I'm trying to say, I'm not here to cause any negative. All I want to do is just bring it to everyone's attention that we're all here for radio. It's supposed to be a friendship thing. It's supposed to be a reach across the globe, hands across the globe type of thing.
Yes, indeed.
And it just doesn't seem to be in the spirit of that for someone to correct somebody on the air. And so all I'm asking, and all I'm saying is I'm not calling names or saying clubs or anything, because it happens in all places, in all towns. I heard it up in the mountains. Some jerk was on the radio telling some guy that he didn't ID and it was 11 minutes. I understand. Do you need to ID every 10 minutes? Yes, you do. If you miss, are you going to get in trouble? No, you're not. It's an accident. The FCC doesn't expect us to be perfect human beings. If you continuously break a rule and someone reports you, you'll get a letter of correction. If you continue to break the rule, you'll get a fine. And if you continue to break the rule, you'll lose your license. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. But I want you guys to understand that all I'm trying to say here is, if you hear somebody do something wrong, don't correct them on the air. That's all I'm saying. My suggestion to you to help me save the hobby, don't say negative things on the air and correct people on the air. Send them an email and say, hey, brother, I just want to remind you, man, we've got some Karens out there. Throw that call sign out, man. When you hear the beep, beep, beep on the repeater, that reminds you to get your call sign out there. That's all. And now they're your friend. You can email back and forth. You've made a new friend, and nobody got scolded on the air. That's all I'm saying. That's the bottom line. Just send the email. Send an email. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the correction isn't warranted. I'm not saying that we're not right or wrong. I'm just saying, please, for God's sake, there's a lot of people out here that do not like to be dressed down on the radio. And unfortunately, there's a few people out there that get their autocratic rocks off on it. And I hate that. So, and the last thing I'll leave you with, and then I'll open it up. If someone corrects you on the air, try very hard to not be a jerk back to them. Because I did one time, and I think a couple of us have.
Exactly.
And I try very hard not to propagate the negative that's coming at me.
Don't engage them. That's what they want.
Exactly. And the last couple times a certain person did it to me, I literally just ignored them and went back to my conversation. So that's the best thing to do.
Best approach.
That I think so too, Rick. I really do. All right. So that was it. Basically, that's my thought of the day. And that, of course, once we get done with that brings us down to the ham radio news. I need like a sounder here. Ding. Yes, this is a ham radio news alert. But anyway, this is breaking news from around town and around the world. I want to tell you guys, the woodpecker. This is so cool. This is one of my favorite things. I heard about this first on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie in the middle of the night. But I think it was Art Bell that actually I heard from first about it. This is an antenna array that sits up in near the Chernobyl nuclear disaster site in the Soviet Union, and it's called an over-the-horizon radar. And it was given the nickname woodpecker by amateur radio operators all around the world because when this thing was turned on, they would hear this thumping sound on all over the HF frequencies, and it was really bad. From the 1970s until the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, the Soviets over-the-horizon radar called the woodpecker by amateur radio operators. It caused severe interference in the amateur radio bands. Ukraine has now declared, this is the news part of it, Ukraine has now declared that this enormous, the Duga-1 as it's called, radar array is a protected cultural monument. You will eventually be able to fly there and see this. Something that protected them from us, and we will now be able to go see it one day because it's in the Ukraine. almost 2,300 feet long and more than 4,500 feet high. The steel beams of the radar tower over the surrounding forest. From a distance, it appears like a massive wall or the beginning of a cage that they were building or something. And you can see the photographs of it. It's amazing. Came online in the 1970s. And like I said, radio operators, they heard all around the world, and they called it the woodpecker. It was an early warning system to warn the Soviets of a missile attack from us. 35 years ago, an accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine caused 2 explosions that irradiated the surrounding area and slightly irradiated this area as well. It was one of the worst nuclear disasters in the world's history. And 3 decades later, the area around the plant is still considered an exclusionary zone. The surrounding buildings, the nuclear plant, and the gigantic radar array called the Dongle-1 were suddenly abandoned and left to decay for decades. When people think of Ukraine, they think of the Chernobyl disaster. But the Dongle-1 is also a big, huge thing there that's on the landscape. So really, really cool. They're trying to get it into the UN's National Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And if they do that, it will become a World Heritage Site. And it will be protected, and hopefully will be people will be able to go see it. How big is this thing? Well, it's big. That's a dude standing up there. My goodness, can you imagine?
Now, question.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to travel to this site with our radios and hook up on there, hook our QRP rigs up and go CQDX?
There you go.
Sound like a cannon blast on that side.
Oh, you could CQ Mars with this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, and of course, it hasn't had power flow through it in a long time. So, but what a waste. But each one of those arrays is probably as long as one of the a couple of the rooms in your house. They're huge, and there's hundreds of them on there. It's just amazing. Absolutely an amazing thing. And what's left of it? Well, it sits in ruin, unfortunately. This is what's left. There's your equipment stacked up. There's your transmitters. Yeah, it kind of made me cry a little bit when I saw that pile of radio equipment there. Kind of looks like some of my antiques around here.
Are you kidding? I've worked in radio studios that look worse than that.
I was going to say, John, my last radio studio looked just like that. As a matter of fact, I think those consoles are newer. Anyway, my last studio, we just got new studios 2 years ago. My last studio, the board was installed when I was a sophomore in high school. So anyway, there you go. So that's the Dongle-1, or the woodpecker. So now you guys know about the largest antenna in the world, and it hasn't been used in a long time, unfortunately.
So
or fortunately, could be fortunately too. There's one correction on here. The antenna's coming back online Friday. I got this update and I haven't updated the slide, so excuse that.
Wait, the Dongle-1's going back online on Friday?
No. The 220 repeater's going online Friday. For those of you who didn't see the slide change, we're on now. The 220 repeater is going back online Friday. It says Monday. It's not Monday. It's Friday. I guess they had to change the time that the tower climbers are coming. The big thing here you got to know, guys, you got to have a PL tone access. The no-name net will pick up next week, and that's it. We talked about this.
Net going to pick up next week when it's on Wednesday in the end.
Well, when I say next week, I mean the one after that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, it'll pick up. It'll pick up not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. John's correct. My vernacular was incorrect. Okay, there you go. The radio events this weekend. This is a big one. 13th annual 13 Colonies events. I've already got some. John's already got some. You can do this with FT8. You can do it with voice. You can do it with, they listed a bunch more too. RTTY, JS8, they listed a bunch of different ones. I went on, I could see most of these stations on FT8. They couldn't hear me or they were busy with other stations. There's a lot of piling up around them. But that being said, I saw almost all of these 3-digit stations while I was looking around. And
the Spotto network?
Yeah, Yeah, I showed the guys that earlier. You just
Yeah.
go into PSK, the PSK spotter, and put in the call sign that you're wanting to find, and it will tell you what bands he's operating on and how long it's been since
You
they've
also
seen him
use
on those.
dxsummit.fi.
Okay, yeah, I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, so you look at here, see K2B, K1, K2A, K2B. You can see them all there. You go to your PSK reporter, and you put K2A in there, and you hit go, and now I can see where he's at. Okay, looks like he's got something going on here, but it looks like most of his stuff right now is on 80. See up here, the pink is 80. So he's on 80, and you can see there 0 minutes. 0 minutes. You're looking for those. If you see a tag that says 0 minutes, within the last 60 seconds, this guy received this station on 80. You know he's there. This is also great if they're using a directional antenna, because you can see which way he's pointing. You can see what his receive pattern is, basically. Notice this guy's pointing south. Notice there's no contacts north to him. So his antenna is probably situated in such a way that he's mostly receiving north and south. Does that make sense?
But I don't see much down this way that he's getting either.
Well, as you know, with 80, it can be a short band sometimes.
Right.
80 can be wonderful, but a lot of times 80 is short.
I think talked to Atlanta last night on 80. It was crap.
If you're using this PSK reporter, if you put in too many requests, it will stop you for about 5 minutes, and you'll have to slow down. Okay,
It is a memory hog.
It's also a memory hog. If you have 5 or 6 tabs with it running in the background, you're going to notice system performance problems. K2C, K2D. See, I do a bunch of these, and once I get to about the 5th or 6th one, it'll shut me down. Oh, here we go. There's K2D. Man, he is rocking this guy. He's got him an antenna. He's got him a blowtorch. So where are my times? He's running multiple bands, because I see 1 minute, 0 minutes on 20, and I see 0 minutes on 80. So they're running 2 stations at the same time, which they're allowed to do. This is a thing. So I know right now which one's getting to Florida better. Looks like 6-1F does in the other. And we're between bands right now. I mean, really, 20 should be shutting down, but it's not. And I'll tell you why. The solar flux is really high right now. Let's see. The solar flux is really high right now. So we'll go to propagation, space weather. '94. Solar flux, 94. It's been up in the 90s for 2 days now. Normally it's in the 70s or maybe the low 80s. So with that higher solar flux, look over here. 80-40 open, 30-20 open. Even at night, 20's open at night right now. Nice. And 17 and 15 are fair at night right now. So you might even try something a little higher than 20 even maybe tonight. So this is interesting that we've got a little bit of stuff going on here. Also 2 meter in Europe has a high muff right now. So that's just kind of some indicators that there's something going on. 6 meters was wide open between North America, the Northeast, and Europe. It was wide open earlier, and then but it never came south. Florida never got a shot at 6 meters today. So anyway, that's that with your space weather stuff there.
Yeah, I'm seeing at least 4 of the 13 colony stations on 80 right now.
Yeah, so I mean, you could go on there right now. I'm going to go on after the net tonight, and I'll go on 40 and 80, and I'll probably pick the rest of them up tonight and tomorrow. I hate to say this again. FT8 takes most of the challenge out of it. It just works so damn well. Oh, it's just so good. All right. So anyway, yeah, this is the K2D station. Try the K2E. Okay, there's the K2E station. Where's he at? He's on 30 meters.
Yep, that's good.
Ooh, I should try to get the 30 meter.
Yeah, he's on 30 meters as of about 3 minutes ago. Let's see. He's also been trying to do a little long distance work on 40 2 minutes ago. So he's monitoring both bands. So he's on 40 and 30. And it looks like he's shooting Europe with his 40, and it looks like his 30 is an Omni. You guys see how cool this is? I mean, the strategy. Oh, I could play Command and Conquer Generals tonight, but instead I'd rather do this. All right.
Yes, FT8 is much like playing a video game.
Yeah, especially when you do all this stuff along with it. I've got like 7 screens. I got everything going on all at one time. And I love to just watch the propagation. These PSK reporter screens, you can create like on my big screen over here, I'll put 4 of them up. One on 80, one on 40, or I'll put them up. I can put them up monitoring 4 different people, and they will automatically refresh. I want to show you guys this. Notice it'll say here, automatic refresh in 4 minutes and 29 seconds. You can leave this up, and every 5 minutes it refreshes on its own. You don't even have to touch it. And you can put these up all over your screen, like at your spare screen, your second, third screen. You can put these all up on it, like 4 of them. Let me show you a neat thing. This is called an app called Pop to an External Window. You can download an app for Chrome, for Opera. Remember, if you're in Opera, you use Chrome apps. Or you can do it in Firefox, or you can do it in whatever your favorite browser. Go look for a pop-out maker. And what this does, watch this. I click this, it makes it into a pop-out window. So now it doesn't have all that extra crap. And I can then go and resize this however I want. And so let's say I wanted to have 4 of these. And let's say I wanted to monitor different things. I can literally do it just like that and create 4 windows. And then I can go back to here and create another one. And then when it comes up, make it into a pop-out window. And you can basically just keep doing this. And this is actually how I actually do it. Create a pop-out window. Now I've got 4 pop-out windows. Now I can take these and I can move them all around to where I can view what I need to view. And then these will all update on their own. Then I could adjust this for what I want. I could change the call sign to whoever I want to monitor. See, and now I could keep an eye on 4 different things at one time. So there's now, and like John said, this is a memory hog. If you've got an older computer, this might be a bit of a challenge for her. But see right here, I'm able to monitor 4 maps at one time. It's a little bit on the screen. You can also hold down. I think you can hold down Control, and you can reduce the size of like the stuff. Put your mouse over this white part. Hold Control and use your mouse rollerball, and you can actually decrease the size of all that white stuff. And then you can change these to the 4 stations you want to monitor. So see, I'm basically showing you guys how you can do this. You can use your computer to monitor 4 different people at one time and see what they're doing. Or you can maybe set one of these on all bands for all hams. Set it for anyone. And this one here will now show us all the transmissions in the whole world at one time. And then while this one's actually showing us what one guy's doing, and then you can eventually go in and you can use your display options, and you can change what kind of map this is. Maybe you don't like the kind of map that it is, and you want to go to a regular looking map. Click that and take it into a regular map, whatever. It goes to a flat map. All right. Anyway, so now you guys can just see one of the things you can do with PSK Reporter, and this is, of course, all free. Okay. Any questions on PSK Reporter? All right. Let's get back to where we were here. If I could figure it out. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go back to here. And go back to here. And go back to here. Okay. No questions on that. Let's go to the next thing here. The next thing is going to be contests for this weekend. And for contests this weekend, there's the Marconi Memorial HF contest, the original QRP contest, and there is another one there for 40 meters called the Firecracker Sprint. Those were the only three that looked like they might have, you know, a number of people involved with them. There was some smaller ones, but that's pretty much the three right there. If you're interested in any of those, just simply pop that into Google and it will bring it right up. If you guys ever want to find anything, I type ham radio and whatever it is, and it comes right up. All right, I need co-hosts for the tech team, for the TechNet. I'm looking for co-hosts. If there's anybody out there that wants to co-host with me, like Joseph's doing tonight, or I should say co-host with us, we would love to have you. I'm looking for somebody right now that wants to do JS8 call. I'm looking for someone right now that wants to do a deep dive into FL Digi. If you want to do either one of those, let us know, because Joseph and I need you to teach us. If there's anything else that you guys can think of for a net, I'm looking for suggestions. Whether you want to host or not, I'm looking for suggestions on things that you think we should do here at the TechNet. It's important that I get input from everybody, and so we can try to provide the nets that you guys want us to provide, okay? So I just want to get as many people out there to help us as we can. If there's a topic you want to provide it. I'll make your slideshow. I'll do a lot of the work. I'll take the load off. You got Joseph and I here helping you out, whatever. I'll take parts of it. We'll make it a small segment with big stuff around it, so it doesn't have to be that long, whatever, okay? I can work with you on whatever you want to do. So just help us out and get this done. And the Southwest Florida TechNet is a great resource. I just showed you that. You can find all of your resources right there, whether it's propagation, weather, and I do want to show you guys real quick. If you go to the Southwest Florida TechNet and you click the weather tab, you'll see the hurricane tab. Or if you just refresh, you'll see the tropical weather update will come right up at the top. All you have to do is click the logo here when it comes up. I don't know why sometimes it doesn't come up on my computer. I'm hoping that's just my computer. But if you ever don't see that logo or whatever, you can just click here. This will bring you to my hurricane page, our hurricane page. This page is going to have all the latest stuff. This stuff updates. There it goes. It did finally come up. This stuff updates automatically. So if you come here, it'll give you the latest information. This is not my information. This is the Hurricane Center's information. I'm just providing it to you in a nice, clean format. This is Hurricane Elsa. You can scroll down. Here's all those maps I showed you in a really easy, convenient format. When you click it, it comes right up to the map so you can see it real easy. And I've got both your public advisory and your in-depth discussion, both live from the Hurricane Center. Notice these update every 3 to 6 hours, okay? Here's some more maps from the Hurricane Center, each displaying a different aspect of the storm. This is the GFS model. You can actually click play and run it through a model run right here before your own eyes, right on the website. It's a widget. Just put it right there. Boom, hit play, and there you go. Isn't that pretty cool? All right. And then below that is just all your general stuff. Any of these things you click on will, of course, bring you a really big full picture view of it so you can see what's going on. And then when you're done, you just X out of that tab and it brings you back to where you were. And that's all there is to it. So enjoy. I'm going to keep that updated. Now, the final thing I want to talk to you about is we are going to be doing live broadcasting here as this thing gets closer. We're going to be broadcasting a live stream signal of out of the shack here that's going to have 4 radio frequencies. It's going to have SARnet. It's going to have the NI4CE Big Stick. It's going to have Charlotte Cars, and it's going to have Lee County Aries to 685. I'm going to have those 4 repeaters all being scanned by a 4 receiver radio, and that's going to be broadcast over YouTube along with a feed that's going to show different things about the storm. And it's also going to have local information. It's going to have ham information, and it's going to have all the information like what the hurricane net frequencies are and all that kind of stuff. So watch for that. I will monitor that. And as the storm develops, as things happen, as ham frequencies come online, things like that, I'm going to move it and change it dynamically so that it will hopefully provide the latest information on what's going on with the storm from a ham radio point of view. And it's going to be all ham stuff, basically. So it's going to be cool. So try that. The best way to find out when we go live is to go to our YouTube channel, and you can do this right now. Go to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. And then every time we go live, it'll send you a notification that we've just gone live. It'll also remind you if you're about to miss the TechNet. So the live notifications is really good. And the only thing we're doing is the TechNet and these basically storm alert mode broadcasts. So that's all you're really going to get notifications there for. Now, the other thing is, if you want to get our emails, you can click the email sign up, or you can do it right on the front page. But I suggest everybody signs up for this. I've been sending these out about twice a week. They're a great little email. I just basically put out a little email that shows you guys all about what's going on in ham radio. It's about our tech group. It's about the tech net. It's about space weather updates. It's about sporadic updates. It's about news updates, regional events, and all about the different things that go on. And it's got all the different things that we're doing, the ARIS, the schedules for the space station flyovers. It's got all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get this, it's absolutely free, and you can unsubscribe at any time. And all you have to do to get this newsletter, you don't have to join the tech team. You don't have to do anything else. All you have to do is put in your call sign and your email right here. That's it. And then click submit. That's all. And then you'll get the email twice a week or 3 times a week, no more than once a day, ever. And if you ever send me back an email that says unsubscribe, I promise I'll take you right off. It's a great way to find out what's going on and get the latest stuff. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm done. I'm starting to get low blood sugar, and I'm breaking out in the sweats. You guys notice when this reflection starts here, it's because I'm 3 hours past dinner time. That's 3 hours past dinner right there. That's sweat. That's low glucose. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back over to anyone who wants to bring anything. Joseph, did I miss anything?
No, you covered it really good.
Hey, Ian,
Yes, Rick.
I've got something I want to show you that I've been working on here. I'm going to go try to share screen. I haven't tried this before, so it might be a little rough, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's try it. Go ahead. You have permission.
Okay.
It should be enabled for you.
Okay, while the other participant is sharing. So
Oh, I gotta turn mine off. That's my bad. Okay, and go.
Let's see what we can do here.
As we would say at work, and take.
Okay, share.
Hey, I see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is my weather station. I just got this. This is on a Raspberry Pi. It's
Nice.
A website. Yeah, it's a website. I didn't do all the work here. All I did was downloaded this thing and put it. I've got a Davis weather station here that I just put in, and it's been in about 2 weeks now. But I've got it's a 3D Plus Raspberry Pi, and I downloaded this software called WX, which is a Python application which runs. Well, it runs on a number of the Linux boxes and even on Macintosh. And so anyway, and there's a lot I can do with this. I'm just scratching the surface, but this is what it looks like right now. So you can see the local conditions here. Let me repaint this thing. Yeah, okay, that's the latest. I'm gonna try to fix that so that it auto updates. But anyway, and you won't be able to see it out there because this is strictly on the local network. But eventually, I'll be able to get this out over the internet. So anyway, but that's what I'm doing.
That is really cool. I eventually will have my own weather station here. It's on the list. It
Yeah.
just hasn't been high enough on the list to get bought yet.
Yeah, they're not exact. A good one is not exactly cheap, but I went out and spent the money and got a Davis Vantage View, and you could get some cheaper ones, but they don't hold up real well.
I was just going to say, let me tell you why you buy a $300 weather station or a $200 weather station versus an $80 weather station. They'll all provide fairly decent data. They'll all hook up to your computer. They'll all go up and spin the little cups around for you. But here's how long they'll last in the Florida sun.
That's right.
That's where the cost gets you.
Yeah.
The $80 one will not make a year, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that's why I bought the Davis station. This one is an all-in-one unit. It's kind of a compromise. I really need to have my anemometer up about 30 feet.
Yeah.
Which it isn't, but I am getting temperature, humidity, and as you can see, let's see, rainfall, wind direction, humidity, and all that good stuff. So that's been a fun thing to play with. So anyhow.
That's really cool.
But anyway, one of my things is I was going to take the Raspberry Pi and put this on there so that I could, look at night, and anytime I could just pick up the phone and look at what's coming out of the weather station to see what the wind speed is, or temperature, and all that stuff.
Now, once you get it going, there's websites. I know Weather Underground does it. There's other websites you can share your weather data with, and they'll give you a free membership a lot of times on their website if you share your data.
This WWX software specializes in that, so I plan on doing that. But I'm just trying to make sure I've got it going good and all that. I'm just taking my time here. I figure in a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe I'll be ready to go up on one or more of those. But in the meantime, I wanted to make sure that the weather station is functioning well, which it is, and all that. So it's been pretty interesting. I don't think I'm any threat to Matt Devitt or any of them, but but anyway. But
Matt Devitt. Anyway. You know something about Matt Devitt? He's become one of my buddies at work. He is nicer in person than he is on the air. I don't even know how that's possible.
He's really good on the air.
He's great.
I come from the Atlanta market, and they've got some real good ones up there, and he's as good as they are.
Yeah, Jim was great. Don't get me wrong. He was the old man in the business, and he was great. But I really like Matt, and he's our chief now, and he's great. And awesome. And what a nice guy. You know what? You know what's funny? I'll give you guys a little insight. Jim would come in. You didn't talk about weather with Jim. He wouldn't even mention weather. You go, hey, Jim, man, did you see that latest model run? And he just grabbed the mic and start doing the weather into the mic, and then he'd walk away. He did not talk about weather, ever. Don't talk to me about weather. I hate talking about weather. Matt Devitt, he walks in, Matt, did you see that Euro? Oh, my God, yeah. Did you see those three that were off to the left, like the outlier? And did you see that pressure change on? I'm like, oh, good, a geek like me.
Yeah.
He is truly a weather geek like me. And he went and got the degree, too.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where he got his degree from. But anyway.
It don't matter. It's one of them ones you just get.
Yeah. But he seems to know what he's doing.
I don't know why you need a degree to stand there and tell me what the National Weather Service is telling you.
Yeah.
Does anybody know? Because I don't. But anyway, okay.
I wanted you to see that. I just got that going today.
Yeah. All right, guys. Does anybody have anything else?
I finally went out and bought a Raspberry Pi 4.
You did?
Yep. I'm going to use it. I'm going to put that ham pie on it.
There you go. Yeah, I'd like to try that. I think we were looking at the one. They've actually got, you can download the thing to go on the card that'll do all the SDR sharp stuff too. So
Yeah, it's a killer.
yeah, I've been looking forward to do. I have been a little scared. It's still sitting here. It hasn't been hooked up yet. Because Joseph will have to walk me through it because I know I'll screw this up. But here it is, the world's smallest computer, and or whatever. That's what I call it. But I'm looking forward to getting it going. This one's probably going to end up being the SARnet. I think, or no, I think you're going to do that one. I think this one's going to end up being one of the scanner feeds. I don't know which one. But Joseph, I think, is going to be taking over the SARnet feed at his house. And so we can free some things up and move some things around, because I'm going to be doing the Charlotte County repeaters. And Joseph's too far away to get the Charlotte ones. So I'm going to switch SARnet to him. I think we're talking, but it's probably what we're going to do. I'm going to switch the SARnet to him. Pretty sure we're doing that for sure. And then I'm going to put the Charlotte County on up here. So we're actually going to add a feed. So it's pretty cool. And you know, the one that one's working really good. I've got everything in that. I got like 2 meter call in there. I got the FMARC event repeater in there. I've got all the repeaters in there. So it's pretty cool. Everything is there except it's all just Lee County and no SARnet. Because if you put anything, you put SARnet in, it's just going to be on SARnet all day. So I've already got a channel with SARnet. So, all right. Last call. Anybody? Anything else? We got 12
Go eat dinner
at the end of the night. That's good. Yeah, trust me, it's spaghetti.
Oh, I love spaghetti.
Yeah, I think Mama purposely cooks the things I really like on Friday nights so that I have to wait.
Spaghetti's even better when it's not on a map.
Yeah.
Next week's TechNet, there's going to be a presentation on why meatloaf shouldn't exist.
Yeah, there you go. I actually think meatloaf is disgusting. It is disgusting. Why somebody would take ground beef and ruin it, I don't know.
And put it into a loaf.
A loaf.
Who wants a
onions
loaf?
And green peppers, and my family would put mushrooms in it, spore-producing fungi, and then like ketchup or some crap, and then some seasoning and some basil or something, and then they wrap this all up and they stick it in the oven. I'm like, look, what you did there is a crime against hamburgers.
Finally, somebody who gets it.
Against hamburgers. That could have been a steak. It might have been a cheap one, but it still could have been a steak.
Some things just shouldn't be made into loaves.
Anything with the word loaf except bread.
Really, yeah. Some people will get cheese loaves.
See, again, cheese loaf. What's up with cheese loaf?
You can't have a cheese loaf.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We covered a story tonight. The federal government came out and said that it's actually going to be 16 cents cheaper this year to have your 4th of July meal than it was last year.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how when meat's doubled since last year. I guess that's if you go vegan, it's 16 cents cheaper.
That's what they want you to do.
Mow the grass and put that in there.
Yeah, I mean, unless if it's tofu, I guess it's cheaper, because all I know is ribeye steaks are $19 a pound or something now. So yeah, you want a ribeye steak, you need credit.
Oh man,
it's
I
my
love me a
favorite
good
thing
ribeye
too in the whole world. My favorite meal in the whole world is a steak and a baked potato and some green beans.
Mm.
That's it. I mean, that to me, that's ecstasy in food. But I don't get, when we go on vacation up to the cabin twice a year, we have those as a celebration. Anyway, remember back when we used to eat steak all the time? Wasn't those days?
Yeah, before
those were the days.
Communists came in and told us to eat grass.
All right, guys. I guess that's about it. Watch out for the Hurricane Watch Net. It's probably going to come up Monday morning. I got to produce the sports show Monday morning. I'm probably going to come home from that and put it on the air if the timeline stays the same.
14325.
That's the Hurricane Watch Net?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm thinking about possibly broadcasting that.
Yeah.
Problem is, my noise floor on 20 is like 199,000. So, and I just made that number up, but it's really high.
Sideband rigs. I'm gonna put it on that. That way I can use my other rig for something else.
Yeah, if I can get traffic that's usable, I can do it. I can take that YouTube feed and split it left and right and actually run 2 different audio feeds. I can run VHF on the left and I can run HF on the right. And then when you're listening to it, you can actually move your slider back and forth depending on what you want to listen to. But I also know a lot of people really hate when people do that. So I've kind of not done it till now, but I may. It's hard to scan 20 meters. You know, you can't just like scan HF, and squelching HF is difficult. And if you're broadcasting something, do I just broadcast it open carrier, you know, the whole time until somebody talks? So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to work on it though. I want a way to bring as much of amateur radio onto the internet as we can get it. And that's the one I want, really. So Joseph, we can work on, we'll all work on that. This will be a little project. I would love to figure out a way to broadcast that Hurricane Watch Net on 20 dot whatever over.
We might be able to pick it up here at the house. I don't know. We haven't had much success with the 20 meter, but we can try it.
That's the thing. I have crap success with it. But here's the thing. If we've got a storm hitting somewhere, who says it has to be one of our SDRs? We could use a
web SDR.
A web SDR, exactly. There's one in Orlando.
Yeah.
And if they're doing 20 and 20 skipping 600 or 800 miles, it might be best to get one in Georgia.
That's right. Georgia, Tennessee, or someplace.
Find one with a really good antenna that's 600, 700, one hop away, you know, basically. And then listen back with that and then broadcast that locally. 100% legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, that's kind of stuff I'm thinking of right now. But I've never really practiced with squelching 20 meters. You know, if I go in there and I get a good one, can I squelch it down to the point that it's not going to be just annoying crap all the time? I don't know. Okay.
There is a squelch feature on WebSDR. You can actually squelch
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can squelch single sideband, but it's weird. It's because a lot of single sideband is listening into the weeds.
Yeah.
And if you're squelching out the weeds, you're not going to hear much unless they're a boomer, you know. I don't know. We'll play with that. That's a fun project anyway. All right, guys, last call. Anything else? Spaghetti calling.
Well, Bob, Ryan here thinks the head cheese is good, and I disagree. That is,
I've never ate head cheese.
Yeah, it's the strangest thing, and I'm
assuming that it sucks.
He thinks it's the most delicious thing ever.
There's another thing. Shrimp. I've never ate a shrimp.
What? Okay, now
I think seafood is disgusting. All seafood is disgusting. I eat no seafood. I eat nothing that comes from the water. But that being said, I think shrimp, the smell of cooking shrimp, it is septic to me. It has got to be one of the worst smells I've ever smelled in my life. My mother, this is a little secret. When I was a teenager, a young teenager, like 12, 14, 15, my friend Robert, my mother worked out a deal with his mother. And on Friday nights, I went to his house. And on Saturday nights, he came to our house. Saturday night was pizza and steak night at my house. Friday night was fish night at my house. And my parents would stink that house up so bad. I'd come home Saturday midday, and I'd walk in that house, and it smelled like boiling gym shoes in there. I'm like, what have you cooked in this house? It stinks like crap in here. What have you cooked? My God, did you cook some basketball player's feet? What did you cook in here? We cooked some shrimp that we got from down the street. So you just stopped and bought some crap that looked like crap from some guy that looked like crap, and you cooked it and it smelled like crap, and you ate it. Oh, by the way, if you eat a whole shrimp, you're eating butthole.
Yeah, man.
Putting that out there.
Yeah, shrimp looks like bugs to me.
They are the cockroaches of the sea, number one. If you're gonna eat a shrimp, you're gonna boil and eat a shrimp, you might as well boil and eat one of these big palmetto bugs we have down here, because they're gonna be good and tasty for you. They're gonna be tasty. No, I have a thing with shrimp. I can't eat shrimp. I can't look at shrimp. I can't be around when it's cooking. It's disgusting to me. And I have this aversion to seafood. I can't walk in seafood restaurants. If I go into a restaurant and someone gets like some smelly ass mullet or something in the bench next to me, I need another chair. I need to sit somewhere where the regular food's being consumed. Thank you. Yeah. I can't eat next to the dumpster. Thank you. Look,
Okay.
go out behind a seafood restaurant and smell the dumpster. You're eating that. That's what it's in your gut right now. All right, I'm done.
All right.
You guys just got the raw part of me there. The next tone you hear is the recording stop.